So, yeah, welcome to the show, Stills. You do a lot of interesting stuff alongside co-hosting with Willie, making a bunch of music. We was just playing your album, the one that you just dropped, like right before you came on. So, absolutely wonderful. Like, and
I appreciate
I
that.
heard Scott Beats a few times, which made me feel a little bit excited with it because I like Scott a
Shout out to
lot.
Scott Beats.
But
Yeah, yeah.
this is really about you. So, we're gonna run through the story of your life a little bit. And I realized that a smarter first question may be, where are you from, Mister? Like, where are you born? Is a better way to put it, Mister Cottreezy.
Man. Yeah, yeah. I was born actually in Kansas City, Missouri, like the center of the United States of America, right? And but I was only there for like maybe 6 months out of my entire life. And then we moved to New Jersey. My dad was a fucking coach. So he was like a professional football coach. So he
Mm.
was just taking like jobs, you know what I mean? Like he was assistant coach, right? So when you're on the ground like that, you just got to do what you got to do. So I was in Jersey for a little, like maybe 2 years. I remember, as an infant, and then bam, 3 years old, went to Buffalo, and that's when I really had my main memories. And then I actually went to Arizona,
Mm.
and then came back to Buffalo. So it was funny because I picked up a lot of West Coast shit during that time. I was only in Arizona from like the age of like 9 to like 12, but I was able to pick up some shit out there. And then went back to Buffalo,
Oh,
and
we're
then that
gonna
was it,
run
man.
through this in more detail than
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
all
just wanted to
day. I know.
baseline it. I'm learning how to like ask where people are from first because I realized, okay, my bit smarter with the context of my good old token first question that has a whole story and everything that builds up and whatnot. But like now
Absolutely.
people know a little bit that's gonna take place in Buffalo when we answer the question. Um, so basically, my girlfriend, she's washing these dishes and she's got her phone playing
Mhm.
and she's got that Black Eyed Peas song going, the I got a feeling, ooh. And she's dancing
Okay.
and she's vibing and she's doing her thing. And this is like
Mhm.
nowadays times. And I realized it's kind of crazy to think about how this song is now like dishes music and it's like exercise music. It's probably a lot of people at the gym run into that shit. And then you're like, but
Right.
wait a second. 10 years ago, yo, shout out Lemef with the raid. 10 years ago, back in time, you would basically be in the club, maybe a little bit drunk as
Mhm.
fuck, dancing in circles and shit to the song with the people, trying to get a little bit laid on instead of doing dishes. Same song, different place
Right
and
there.
time, completely
It's
different
facts.
intention, purpose, and vibe to that track. So I thought that
Right.
was super nifty, right? Like music changes,
Mhm.
which also means that if you really, really think about it, autumn club songs today, autumn Cardi B's and stuff, all of that is gonna end up being in the future dishes music, the kind of
Absolutely.
exercise music that people are vibing to in the same way. But that means musical journeys are kind of in flux, right? They change over
Right.
time, and the different aspects of music are just kind of always different. So, with that, I realized when we talk about our own musical journeys, we often start at this adolescent period when we create our own identities and we latch onto these identities and we start caring. But really, our
Mhm.
musical journeys start like way before that, like all the way back when you're real young and you have those earliest memories coming from Buffalo, New York, you know?
All day. All day.
So I know for myself, I can remember my dad having these gray boxes that he would link together with the wires and hook up to the speakers, and he would be playing these tapes all the time, the Zeppelin tapes, and at nighttime there was the '90s EDM shit, and then there was like at Christmas time these weird Christmas remix albums that would come only on Christmas time, and then my
Only on
mom
Christmas.
had these shitty like disco knockoff tapes that she would get at the corner store type thing, and like I don't know
Yeah.
what else she had, but a lot of musicals I think. Anyway, lots of stuff that was like there that kind of like created this like foundation for a lot of the things that would come later on in my life. So I think to start this off right, it would be really cool if you could walk us through the musical soundscape of like the youngest Cottreezy that you can remember and what it sounded
Mhm.
like and what the technologies was like and the vibes when you were growing up.
Yo, the vibe was crazy because, like, I'm an 80s baby. You know what I'm saying? 82. So I had some of that funk perspective, right? So I remember, like, my dad they had the vinyl player going. You know what I'm saying? So I remember, like, one of the first songs I was vibing to. I remember my dad showed me a videotape of this. I was probably like 4 years old or something like that. And they had like some artwork where it was like I think it was like a rice maker or a bean maker, but it looked like a guitar. So I picked that bitch up, right? And my dad was playing like My mom was like so into gospel music. I'm talking like real hardcore gospel. I forgot what vinyl they had, but it was like some groovy ass country gospel music. And so I just started getting to it. So I'm in there just like grooving on the guitar, like jumping off the fireplace. You know how when you little think that the fireplace is like a stage. So you're jumping up there, going ham with it, right? So I remember just grooving and sitting there, and also growing up in that fucking militant, going to church, black family. I'm always going to church, and then my mom forced me to be in the church, the children's choir. So there you
Okay.
go again, right? Now, flip side to that, my mom's side, the Whitley family, she comes from a family of 14 brothers and sisters, and
That's a lot.
literally, yeah, and literally each one of them could sing like a singing ass North Carolina girls band fan. My mom can sing the hell out of us some gospel music. Like she would do the solo joints. They would call her up every once in a while to do solo joints. So I'm sitting there like watching her and literally not even probably noticing that I'm probably getting training because my cousins can sing on that side, the Whitley side. They all can sing. So as a young child, like talking like 4 or 5, I'm in the children's choir. Now I remember like my mom trying to restrict me from music. So the first like vibe I got was like this group called Sounds of Blackness. Now Sounds of Blackness was funny as fuck because like it was like 50 people in this group choir that was trying to go platinum and go tour. You know how that go. That's not gonna work for a while. It's gonna work for like a year, and then like, yo, we can't pay 70,000 of y'all to do one fucking show. So like, but the Sounds of Blackness was hot, right? And then like also again back then like BB and CC Winans. Now these are like some gospel motherfuckers, right? Now I'm gonna say motherfuckers because BB and CC, I don't care. They would really tote the line with like Christian music and like R&B. Like they wouldn't even say Jesus in the songs or God. They'd be like he and sometimes it'd be so soulful. You'd be like, yo, are they fucking or they like are we what we doing in here? I'm kind of so my mom really didn't like that. She was like old time religion, give me that old, and I didn't like that shit either, right? So like, but when I first fell in love with hip hop, dog, and rap, my first fell in love with, I'll never forget. Like I always fuck with rap on the East Coast. I remember when I finally got to Arizona, I
Hold
started really falling in love with the West Coast. Go ahead.
So before we get to Arizona and falling in
Yeah,
love
yeah,
with
yeah,
rap,
yeah.
you already
Okay,
just dropped the fact that your family's mad talented, so you got like 17 whatever mad singing skills going on, and you got some training going on,
appreciate that.
and you're in the middle of a youth choir at like 4 or 5 years old. So what's it like?
Yes,
So does that mean you got the choreographs and you got all the whole vibes you learning?
yo, yeah. Like I remember like being in like first of all, you had an outfit like what the colors is black and white, right? And then you got it. Then you had to sacrifice your Saturday morning because we got choir rehearsal.
Oh shit!
You know what I'm saying? So fuck cartoons and fuck pajamas and shit like that, just chilling. We got choir rehearsal. So we got to go to fucking choir rehearsal. This is like resentment at first. I used to hate this shit, right? Like, I did not enjoy doing any of this shit. Like I used to hate my mom. Like fuck you. Like what am I doing this for? And so and then point I didn't really try to sing. I'm in tenor. Like every knee shall bow, like I just didn't go fuck, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like I did not want to be it. But we did have a fly Corey. I'm talking like when I got to like a little bit later in the choirs, like yeah, we had to like do a little, not too much, because again, it's that old time Baptist church. You can't be up there dancing too much. Like nowadays, they doing some other shit. I'm like nowadays, I don't even like it. Maybe I'm some old motherfucker because I don't even like that shit now. Well, I ain't going to church. Motherfuckers is out there dancing and shaking your ass and shit. Like, but back then, they was on the same shit. Them old time motherfuckers. You could be 5, 6, 7 years old. You better not do one little shoulder shiver that was probably a little bit too much, or they literally take you out the choir and whip your ass in the back of the pews.
Yeah, that's serious
Like
though. But that's
serious
interesting.
militant Baptist shit. Yeah, like serious down south militant Baptist shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. So singing and music really wasn't like I kind of resented it a little bit. You know what I mean? I didn't really find my
Yo,
voice
but like,
at
what's
all until
crazy
later
about?
on.
I mean, to be fair, you're like 5. Most people at
Yeah,
5 aren't really finding their voices so much, but you
Right.
are actually doing something that I think a lot of artists struggle with in their 30s, and that's disciplining. Like actually just
Yes,
taking
sir.
that like association that music maybe is fun, but it's not like fun. It's actually a lot of work and a lot of discipline and a lot of
It is.
sacrifice. But you're like learning that at like 5, which is kind of huge. Plus the
Mhm.
working with others. Oh, that's another
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean,
Because I know there's a church circuit in Montreal that actually a whole bunch of artists, at least 2 or 3 I've even talked to, have gone through this like one church circuit in like Montreal. I can't remember
yeah.
which one. So like it really does foster a lot of creativity and whatnot.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so y'all were doing the church thing, which I can relate to actually. My church had the rock band version, so they had the
Okay.
safe guitars and the drums at the slow tempos. You couldn't go too fast, right? Like that's what it was.
Right.
You had to be
Right.
like basic ass 4 chord. Come on, we have a
Hmm.
band here. You should be satisfied. It is so much better than not having a band. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but yeah. So before we move on from like this patch, we gotta ask because like there's other elements and shit, right? So
Hmm.
were you into drawing and things? Was that something that was a passion for yourself when you were like super young?
Mm. Super young, no. I wasn't into drawing like that. I was into like, I ain't gonna front, bro. Sports. That's
Mm.
it.
What kind of sports was you
Sports,
doing?
baby. Anything possible. Anything I get my hands on. Like football, because my dad was a coach, right? So that was the second hand. Like I knew at like 7 I wanted to play football, professional football. I knew I was either going to play professional football or basketball. I don't know how that mindset came in at such a young age, but it was like I was already training out there. So you couldn't really fuck with me on a level unless you play some sports. Like
Mm.
for instance, I'm in Buffalo, right? You'll love this shit. Bo Jackson's nephews are in the cul-de-sac across like the way. And we end up knowing each other because we were like the only few black people in that area. So we happened to see each other, and they came over, and the parents came over. And next thing you know, I'm so they end up being like my childhood friends. That's all we did, bro. Is football, basketball, baseball, hockey. You know what I mean? We didn't. I don't know why we didn't put the skates together because we would have been ill with it. We just was like on that street hockey, running around shit. But I love hockey. I literally do. Like I literally almost regret not being able to skate as a young age because I actually feel like I'd have been amazing at hockey rather than football, right? So we did that, and then like I also what I love to do was really like not really draw. I wasn't even into like cartoons. Like I didn't think that shit was funny
Yeah, I can
at a
feel
young
that.
age.
I kind of like remember watching cartoons because they were there, but
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't athletic. I certainly was not. I was into video games. I definitely played a lot of video games at that age, but that's still cool. So you're athletic. You get into music training. Lots of discipline things going on. Um, But basically, oh, I know what you're talking about. Bo knows this, Bo knows that. That's
Hmm.
because the fucking scenario song. That's why I know what the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
Bo
yeah.
Jackson
Bo
ad
knows this,
campaigns.
yeah. Bo
I was
knows
like,
that.
and
Bo
so
knows Jack. The Bo
and I was
can't
like, who
rap.
the fuck is
Yeah.
Bo? And I'm like, oh, okay. I had to go Google that shit and like learn about that from fucking
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest. Um,
Uh-huh.
all right, so you're basically a little athlete. So why did y'all end up going to Arizona? What ended up making
So
that?
my dad ended up getting a job with the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh,
So he's literally a Buffalo Bill. He's a linebacker coach. So then some things happened. He actually had like this is some exclusive shit. He actually had like beef with Marv Levy at one point, the head coach. Like they just weren't getting along. So he ended up taking a job in Arizona.
Willie's
And I was
asking.
sad at the point. Yeah, yeah.
Willie just wants to know if your dad started coaching with the Bills, or was he with someone else beforehand?
He was with Kansas City Chiefs before that.
Mm.
Excuse me. And he was also with Rutgers University. So he started off at like Rutgers University College, and then we went to Kansas City, Missouri. And then he
Right.
actually flew to Jersey on some like USFL shit. Like we were in New Jersey. They had a USFL league for 1 year. Check this shit out. New Jersey Generals was the team. The GM was Donald Trump.
No shit. That's serious.
I met Donald Trump at like 3 years old. Yeah, as a dick even then too. Um, He was a fucking dick. Like my dad was like, he was a fucking dick. He's been a dick all since the beginning. He just was there. He didn't even fuck about the team.
Yeah, I could
So
say
then it
that's
was that
that kind
lasted
of
one
guy.
year. Yeah, he didn't. He just like his numbers, man. It's business. It is what it is, right? So
So then,
I mean, he still got some fly players that come to that team, right? So,
and so then he
but
has
then
beef with the next peoples, and then
yeah, he got beef with the next people. Like they ran him out. It was on some karma shit, bro. Yo, listen to this. I'm giving this some game right here, bro. So it was Buffalo Bills, and the year was 1990, right? The year before they go to all these Super Bowls and shit. So we go to Arizona, and my dad's with the Cardinals. They have a tough season. They don't make the playoffs. Then the Bills go to Super Bowl. Boom, Scott Norwood. You know what I mean? Now I was still a Buffalo Bill fan because I'm young, and we just moved to Arizona like 6 months ago, so I didn't give a fuck about that. I was, all my family was still in Buffalo. I'm still a fan. This is like when I was like 9 years old or some shit. So Scott Norwood happens. Bam. You know what I'm saying? My dad's like sitting there like, you can't believe it, but
I
he
have
kind
no
of
idea
laughing
what it's.
too.
I don't know what that means. I'm not even.
Okay, so I'm sorry, my bad. So Scott Norwood, my bad. Let me cut it down. I'm going to sport, like what the fuck is that? So Super Bowl, the Buffalo Bills go to the Super Bowl. We're in Arizona. We had just left Buffalo. My dad got beef with Marv the season
Right.
before.
Okay.
So the Buffalo Bills go to the Super Bowl versus the New York Giants. They have a chance to win the fucking Super Bowl. Scott Norwood is the field goal kicker that for 3 points could have just, it would have been 22-21. He shanked it wide left, like which he missed the game. He missed it. Like it was like a Super Bowl
Yeah,
clutches,
that
like
makes sense.
36 yard or two. Like it was like so mega. So that happens, right? Bam. So that happens, and I'm sad. My dad's laughing. Well, then the Bills end up going back to the Super Bowl and never winning. Like it was a torture situation, like 5 years straight. Now, meanwhile, we were in Arizona. So then Marv Levy, the guy he had beef with, I think he might have thought that maybe he was getting punished because the beef was illegitimate. Like my dad and him, like he just ran him out of town because he wanted his friend in my dad's position. So he made the job harder for him, like just like, you know what I mean? Well, then that position ended up being the weakest position on the field. And then in 95, he begged my dad to come back, like, yo, let's squash this beef. I need you back for the Bills. And so we went back to Buffalo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it really like they could have won allegedly. Let's not say hard facts. If your dad had stayed, but then they on some petty shit got rid of your dad, and then they didn't
Yeah.
win. Now we
And
can't
they brought it
say that
back.
history changed, but we can say that that happened, which leads somebody to believe that that was relevant enough. You know?
I
I'm just
mean,
gonna throw.
it just the spirits work in crazy ways. You never know, man. I'm not trying to say that, but
Right,
I'm being an
listen,
asshole. But yeah,
yeah, we can roll with
to me
it.
it was like, yeah,
This is
it
your
was
story,
relative.
though. And from your perspective, that's what happened. Now, we didn't say that it was directly related. We just saying this is the sequence of events and what it could look like if you interpret these events
Oh,
away.
that's right. That's right.
But while you were in
That's right.
Arizona, I do believe you
Yeah.
said that you fell in love with hip hop. So why don't you tell us a bit more about that?
Yo, let's get to it, right? So we had the box. I don't know if people remember the box. This is like MTV. The box was like the one you could call up and order the videos, right? But they were showing some underground shit. And I remember my mom had a black and white TV, dog. Like this is how fucking old I am. She had like a small little black and white tube TV in the side guest room, so to speak, whatever. So I go sneak in there and put the box on. Because my mom was so strict, you definitely ain't watching MTV in front of her. At that time, MTV wasn't even popping like that, right? Like they wasn't really running it. And VH1 was just playing like Madonna and dumb shit. So there was no hip hop anywhere really. Like
That's
MTV
actually
Raps was
really
not even
important
close. Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, one of the things I've learned is, or it comes up, especially at this time frame, is how hard it is to consume hip hop or even discover it in the
Yes.
first place. Because
Yeah.
it's not like today where everybody's growing up on YouTube, or even when I came up, where like music videos did have a much vibe at an MTV2 and shit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And so like we didn't have that. We had the hardcore. So when you put out a video, it's for the street for real, right? So So I sneak upstairs, go to the box. I be hearing some shit, man. You know, first I started hearing my first concert, and it was in Arizona. My first rap concert was in Arizona. I went to, and it was Crisscross,
Mm.
and it was a pretty good one. I remember me and like this like dude. I think he was probably like my age, 9 or something, and we just ended up like seeing each other because there was mostly girls up in there, right? But we wanted to dance. Like I'm 9, I ain't looking at girls and shit. Like I'm in there just dancing, and literally that's what I was doing, just dancing my fucking ass off to Crisscross. And they had everybody in there though, because like it was still Arizona, still a lot of gang shit going on, whatever. But everything was safe. So that was one of the first concerts. So after that, I was like, I would go sneak up to my room, go check out the box. Man, it was hardcore West Coast shit, like South Central Cartel, E40, Spice One. You know what I'm saying? Like, DJ Quick, of course, Snoop. Dre was in the mix.
Just
So
before,
it was pumping.
just to
Mm-hmm.
pause. So Willie wants to know if they made you jump, but also Golden Jenny from Norway is, I like saying that a lot. Saying that it was her first concert too, is Crisscross.
Mm.
But
Tell Willie, Willie. Yes, they made me fucking jump, dickhead. Because if jump is the goddamn #1 hit, eventually motherfuckers are gonna jump. You know what I mean? It wasn't like House of Pain and shit where you just go and ram the whole song and shit. Nah. Anyway, yeah, they made me fucking jump.
That's amazing.
So, so like, I'm getting a hardcore to box shit. I mean, and I get a couple of East Coast things, but I'm in Arizona. I'm loving Arizona. I'm thinking maybe this is my new home. I'm fucking with kind of the West Coast vibe. Of course, Pac was going crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that must be
Whatever.
So you're like 9, 10 as Tupac is coming to fruition.
Coming to fruition, he's just like starting off a little bit. He's not even like really on the West. He just quite yet. Like it's like he had just dropped, I think, Apocalypse Now.
Fair enough.
And I was like, I just love this voice, you know what I'm saying? I love this. I was fucking with it a little bit, but you couldn't really catch it in the box because at the time, West Coast was killing the box. Like they were just ordering shit. That's all you saw. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember one of the tracks came out hard. The Brat Funkified came out. I went crazy. For whatever reason, I love that shit.
It's a good album though.
Yeah. It's a real good album, right? So my first fucking tape, my homie, I don't know how he did it, but he was like, yo, he asked me at school, my mom, he was my best friend, Chris. But he was from a Chinese cat, literally Chinese cat. And he's like, yo, what do you want for, you're my best friend and shit. He's like, oh, what do you want for your birthday and shit? I was like, and I was like, yo, I want the Snoop Dogg tape. And I wasn't really thinking back then. I'm like 9, 10 years old. It's Doggy Style, right? That's the first shit. Unedited, everything. Bam.
The cartoon porn pamphlet.
Yeah, the cartoon, all that shit, right? So I get the tape deck, tape cassette. I got a boombox in my room. And I got these fucking earphones that I got from America West Airlines because we was flying at that time. They would just throw you earphones. So I took them bitches home. I had like 6 of them. I'm bumping that shit. I couldn't stop playing this song. I couldn't stop playing Doggy Style over and over again, right? So, I think it was going on for like a good week and a half. Finally, my mom come in, right? She's like, what are you listening to? I knew I wasn't really supposed to be listening to that shit because she knew who Snoop Dogg was. At this time, Snoop Dogg was like, everybody was like, the Snoop Doggy Dogg guy, the character, the air, especially the Christian black, that man that says bitches and hoers. And
they really do.
They went hard.
The Christians really do like. And I say this because I went through the church as a kid too, and I know for a fact that my parents would tap in with the other parents, and they would collaborate on what you were not allowed to listen to.
Absolutely, they're like, this is the guy right here. This is the groups. He's bad. Like you couldn't even say the name. You didn't even know. You couldn't even name one song. I don't care. He's bad. So then that resonated because then my mom had to take me to school because it was like a private school, so we had no bus. So she wouldn't even play rap at all, which made me want it even more. Like she would just play, we was in Arizona, the radio station, I'll never forget, bro, because it was pounding in my fucking head. It was K-Light 98.7. That's it. K-Light 98.7 FM. Soft rock. Soft rock all day. All right, BG, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
It's the
Minute by
Q92.
minute by minute. Like all this classic rock shit that I had to listen to because I would try to go to the radio and it'd be like three songs, and of course, then all of a sudden, Dina Howard come on. I'm a freak until the day. Turn it off. Boom. Like she was just not into it. But then I was like, she didn't know she was just feeding my hunger because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna catch that shit later on. I'm gonna go later on and put the radio on my earphones, just fucking listen to that shit. So the more she didn't like it, the more I got interested in it. So she comes in the room. All right, what are you listening to? I'm like, bam, doggy style. She knows what it is, boom. She's like, oh yeah, this is what it is. She takes off the ear jack, boom, plays it, and of course it's like the worst song. Like, it ain't no fun if the homies gang. Guess who's back in the motherfucking house with a fat dick for your motherfucking mouth? Boom, she pops the goddamn tape cassette. Yeah, breaks it, rips it, whatever. Like, you know how Christians do. You gotta destroy it so nobody else will. If I throw it in the trash, somebody's gonna get this garbage,
I
and the sin will
legitimately
continue.
know what the fuck you're talking about to the letter. My dad used to. I remember him ripping up a book one time.
Yeah. Like somebody else is gonna read this shit. Like, come on, yo. So I mean, she even did that shit with like Ace Ventura, Peg Detective, because she didn't know it was as funny as it was. So we watching it, she got so mad she ripped it up. I was just like, yo, that shit is hilarious. But you know how Ace was wilding, like, you know what I mean? So back to the music, like, my dad was cool though. See, my dad was cool. So I ride with him, and he'll let me listen to some shit because he knew, like, he wasn't on that. Like, he's like, yo, come on, relax. Like, he around football players. He just can't be Jamaican, but he get that culture in him. So you don't give, he like, come on, man. Like, you look good little kid. Like, you ain't doing shit. Like, relax. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my dad was doing wild shit anyway. So it was just like, when I get in my dad's car, like, he busts out the Cohiba and he'll listen to whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, Lunza wasn't too bad because he still don't like that shit, like crazy shit. But like, so that's what happened when I was in Arizona. She just kind of like fed my hunger by not liking it, and I didn't like her. So it was like because she was so disciplined. I didn't like the church either. Like, y'all gotta be in there. But at the same time, yeah, I went to this church called Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church, bro. My choir was like 70 of us in one choir. This church is big. It was like 70 of us. And like, we went to competitions and we blew it down. Like, it was crazy in Arizona, church choirs. It was like people passing out like from heat and shit. I'm singing so hard, practicing. Like, it was crazy. It was insane. And to have that training, I remember being by the live bands in the choir and listening to them, being intrigued by the bass. You know what I'm saying? Being intrigued by the piano and being intrigued by the drums. Because some of them cats, I remember them cats was like some street cats too. So they would sneak some street shit in once in a while. I remember one time they busted down real quick. They bust G-Thing in the middle of one show during practice. And I thought they were gonna do it at church, and they did it, but they just snuck it in because it was like, it was just the whole thing came through. We was like, oh, and they just never did it again. But you know how it was, like they had that, like, so I felt it. I felt that there was a different type of like vibe out there. I'm like, I don't want to be no fucking gospel song. I'm not doing this in church, man. I got something else to say if I ever do this. You know what I mean? I didn't know if I was ever gonna be putting out music and doing it for a movement, but I never thought that. I just thought that, like, I'm not gonna be singing no fucking church choir. I know that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna be doing no solo. No, I don't want no solo.
Okay, but here's the thing, man. Church music's fucking weird. Can we just be real for a second?
Yes, it is.
I don't know about like if the Baptist and stuff. It might be a different vibe, but like half the shit is just love songs to God, and I'm not being hyperbolic. It's like, I love you, God. Come hold my hand, envelop me in your unending love, and it's it's weird, and I don't mean it like
it's very weird.
Or it'll be like over the hills and on the mountaintops with the sheep. And you're like, what the fuck is this? It's not 87.
No, because you're right. Because, dog, let me tell you, I was in Arizona, right? And my mom put me in this fucking all-white private Christian school. And guess what? I mean, you're talking about, ready? Our God is an awesome
That's my favorite
God.
song, though. The techno remix.
That's just kind of gangster. I said, all right, I bang a little bit. All right, I ain't gonna lie, I bang.
But the
But then
rest
there were
of
some
them,
other
the
ones
rest
like,
of them are not.
no, there was one song where like they had us in the choir, right? I forgot who my fucking choir director was, but it was like very caressing and holding, like in your loving, like, and she wanted us to sing it so like it was just like, no, no, God does not want you to make love to him. He needs you to work, bro. Get your shit and get together. That's why, like, it was funny because, like, I'm sorry, but like the more conservative European, they'll say, type churches, like with the Christian ones, they were caressing, whereas like the Baptist black is like more like hood, like hard. We gotta get it, we gotta make it, like because people are fucking like coming in there, they dying and shit. Whereas like it felt like this, I just love you so much because my life is so good and that like all this shit.
Yeah,
So it was a difference to me. I didn't like that caressing, holding God shit because I'm coming home and my mom is teaching me like, yo, God will kill you if you sin, or you better not lie or you will die. Like
that part I do
Ten
not.
Commandments,
For it was all about
bam,
your
like
soul will go to hell if you.
heaven. You like even to this day, and we ain't gonna get to like fast forward, but like when she was like sees my tattoos for a while, she used to be like, it's when the Antichrist comes back, he's gonna identify you. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh my god, my dad's all into the church and tribulation shit, so it's like the
Yes.
and you're like, why? What? Anyway,
Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, I mean, yeah. So I did not want to be in that church choir. And when I got back to fucking Buffalo at 12, that's when like the music was really, I was able to independently really listen to what I kind of wanted to listen to, because at that time the East Coast was really, the radio station was much better as far as like now I can get to my roots, my East Coast shit. So I really started getting into it then. Like, I remember my first rhyme was like 13. You know what I'm saying? Like 13, 14. Throw some shit.
what made
And
you
it was like
decide?
hilarious.
What made you decide to be like, nah, I'm gonna write some shit?
So like my cousin from Jersey came up one night. We was both just like bored. And he had like the what tape did he have? Because his parents were cool. Like, so he had yeah, because my mom and dad was fucking, my mom was an ass, my dad was cool, my mom was a fucking asshole. Like he had Capone and Noriega, CNN. So he brought the tape up, and I don't know what happened. We just started like writing to it, like because we played it like over and over again. So we know how you do. We didn't have no damn instrumentals. We just tried to like fake like we was in the rhymes and shit. So I remember like it was like, oh man, it was just like, oh yeah, it was
Holy
just like,
shit! Maybe that's why people like
I know the
vocal
rhyme too.
samples as much as they do.
You're right.
Cause your vocal samples wasn't like all as prevalent as they are in like the 80s to early 90s hip hop. I'm sorry, but like haven't done enough
Not at
reviews.
all.
They went
Not at all.
but then all of a sudden, if y'all was actually like sitting there rapping over other people's raps, it's almost like now the beat has vocals. Holy shit, that's a big one for me
That's
at
a
least.
big one. Yeah, actually, you're right. That's actually a good fucking, damn, that's like a premonition right there. You're right. Because we would do it all the time. The instrumentals didn't come out to like, I think like 98, 99. We used to you buy the single and shit. Buy a fucking single, not no fucking, go out and get the fucking single or the whole tape. And then the single might have the fucking instrumental on that shit, but they ain't want nobody rapping on that shit like that back then. Whereas now, everybody, whatever. So,
Well, now it's like you can just get type beat / recreation / bloop 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 bloop.
Absolutely, right? So,
Yo, karaoke
I just like,
beats, man. It's the greatest shit ever. You just find the
it
karaoke
is.
version.
It is. It is. And you just go hard with that, right? So, literally, like, yeah, I just wrote some rhymes and then, again, back in the fucking church. My mom was militant with it. So I'm back in the fucking church and back fucking in the choir. But this time I'm older. So I'm kind of like finding my voice and then like saying like, all right, if I'm up here, I might as well do it all right because you got some girls in here. Now I'm getting, what I'm saying? Now you got the girls that looking kind of fly in the choir. You know what I mean? So now you got me, you got a little east side chicks out there in Buffalo looking real good. They ain't my cousins. You know what I'm saying? We checked in with that. Because, you got to check in where I'm from, man. You might be cousins. So they good.
I've legitimately never had a person say that to me in my life because I'm very northern Montreal city, right? Like all the factors to like 1.2 family, whatever, 2 siblings. But you're right. Like that's a possibility because the math of like 16 aunts and uncles just plays
we
out.
close, man. I was close. There was one that was pretty fucking close.
Willie
Was by
wants to
marriage.
know
You know what I'm saying?
what year this is. It's 95 when you're 13.
Yes, 95.
Okay, so we're about there right now, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, yes.
Understood.
Yes.
Cool.
We're at 95.
Awesome.
We're at 95 right now. Yeah, so like, and 95 was live to me. 95, I mean, I remember really, like that was 8th grade, right? I remember really getting into like guys like Milkbone and like, you know what I mean, really New York hip, because I'm back in Buffalo, so I'm really on my New York shit. That's when Biggie really hit me. I remember, I thought one more.
How far is Buffalo from like NYC though?
Yeah, so we not far to NYC at all. We like 6 or 7 hour drive away. So Buffalo is just upstate, really. That's what we consider ourselves. Like we align with like Rochester and Syracuse. We don't really like the cities. Is the city. Like it was hard because we loved the city hip hop, but they drowned it out the Buffalo scene. You feel me? Like you come from Buffalo, like oh, fuck is that? What, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Harlem. Like, and I had an aunt in Harlem, so I've been to the city plenty of times. I've sat on stoops and been through Queens, almost every through barrel, but Buffalo is where I'm really raised. That's whom I am as a person, right? So at 13, I remember Biggie was, I thought One More Chance remix was the greatest song ever. I had it fucking memorized down to a T. Like I could probably do it right now, but like it was just like, that's how it was. I thought Biggie, One More Chance was the illest shit. Now, mind you, I still had that West Coast. So I'm the only one out there in Buffalo at this age in 95 bumping like Sugar Free and E40. Like I guarantee I'm the only one out there bumping that shit. Cause you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I gotta keep it low because my mom is still on my tape shit. So I gotta hide tapes and shit. So I had this like love for hip hop where like I would hide my shit really good because my mom would search my show. She was one of those parents, like,
oh yeah, I get that.
well, I bring it with me. Yeah,
yo, it's probably back to that church shit, that coordinated effort on how to be a super parent. Yo, they're gonna hide it here. You're gonna check these spots.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy, bro. But the thing about it was I always kept my room clean, so she get tired of searching my shit because then she'd clean my room up again. You dig? So I caught that shit real early.
Ismail wants to know where you were hiding them.
Oh, dig. So listen, I would hide them like literally at the bottom of the dirty clothes hamper because I was one doing laundry or chores. So I had them in the middle of the load, either bottom or the middle of the dirty clothes hamper, or I would just take them with me in my book bag everywhere. I would just take all my music with me. Sometimes I would even take the insert out, scrape over the contents on the tape, so it looks like a blank cassette, and then I would tape over that scraping of it and put like some gospel shit on there, like. But it's really like. But it's really like one time it was really the Chronic. Actually, I put the Chronic over, and it was just I put like Chronicles of Jesus.
That's
some
amazing.
Shit.
It sounds like the VHS tape, porn tape grind, like the same thing, but with late night movies.
It is. Basically, it is. I had to be on it, man, because she would catch it. You know what I mean? Or like even if I bought like I remember like I remember John B. I was trying to get some R&B shit in my life, and I remember buying John B. It's the same year too, and she was just like, I'm in the fucking Go ahead.
Well, R&B would be like bad because it's pro sex.
Yes. So like she's looking at it and she wants to see the titles of all the songs. And one song was Pants Off. She's like, what's that? Pants Off. You are not allowed to play track 13. I'm like, oh. And so all this time, of course, you know what I do. Okay, bitch, put the earphones on. I'm playing track 13. Like, Pants Off. Great. The song wasn't even that good anyway. I'm like, the song ain't prepping. Whatever. But it just fueled me to like, it just fueled me to be like, I bet. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's okay.
Nah, I hear you.
So, yeah, that's 13. So I'm out there just like vibing to it in Buffalo back. And then like they had a really good radio station, 93.7 WBLK was popping, DJ Hooker and Break of Dawn. This is when radio was really good. 95,
Are you
96 in
are you
era.
able to like pick up the stretch and Barbados and all that stuff?
What do you mean?
Like I don't know how far Buffalo is and how far radio travels and how good radio
Oh
technology is.
yeah, like
Because like I
we
know
really
now you could probably, but like
now you could, but back then, fuck no. We were 7 hours away drive, so it was like
fair enough. I guess that's like
we had
Montreal
nothing.
distances. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's much closer. Y'all closer to that, right? Like
Mm.
we really had our own identity of our radio station. We
Could
was
you
proud
pick
of
up
our
all the
shit.
Toronto shit? Like you're a lot
We
closer.
could, yeah. Now we could pick Toronto shit up all the time. We had love for crazy Toronto love. Like Cardinal Fisher was when we get to that. When he dropped, we thought that he was almost like we dropped because we was right. We listened to that shit, and at the time we even had CTV on the local TV stations. So I was watching Canadian TV all the time. Too.
Yo, that's serious. That makes. I mean, it's not often you have a guy from the States sitting there going, "Yeah, I was watching CTV and Cardinal
Was yeah,
Official." That's
yeah.
lit.
You know, like he dropped, and we was like proud of that shit. Like yeah, that's To, and I'll get to the To shit when we get right. Like that was when the shit got real, but yeah, like 13, 14. You know, singing. I didn't really. Okay, peep this. So 13, I'm in the fucking last year of private school, but my mom decided to put me one more year in Christian Central fucking Academy, right? Because I'm going to public school in high school, so I can't wait. But she's like, no, you ain't I'm out here. So they had us do. They had like this. I ended up getting chosen for some like singing group, and we had to do a presentation, and we sang "One Sweet Day" by Mariah Carey featuring Boyz II Men. Right. So I remember I had this part in the middle of it that was popping. It was Wanye's part, and it was perfect for my tone. Right. Like I remember doing it over and over again. I think that shit sounded so good. I'm like, bam. Then all of a sudden, at the last second, they told me to do the beginning part, which was like way more lower and horrible. It was like, sorry, I never. It was like so fucking pussy at the end of it. It was just horrible. And I ended up doing it, right? So now my love for music is getting kind of curved. Cause I'm like, yo, I thought I was about to blow out here. Cause it was like I was sounding good too. I'm like, yeah, my mind got, I can sing. I come from singing. This ain't shit. And then all of a sudden they totally changed it. So now I'm like, yeah, fuck music. Oh, fuck it, whatever, nigga. I'm back on this, but I'm back. I'm playing sports too. I'm like, I gotta be singing. I'm about to be singing on the football court and basketball court. Fuck y'all. Boom. When I get my money, I'm buying my own shit. Like I was already on. I was like in my mind, like fuck you. I don't need to be singing anyway. So I'm not right.
Yo, but even what you just said is big, right? Like, so you're a teenager. You're invested in a part. You get committed to it at a psychological level. You get, you know, it plays with you a bit, you know. And then at the last minute, the teacher, for XYZ reason or whoever, flips that on you and puts you in a very uncomfortable position. Yo, I can tell you right now, man, if somebody were to come at me and change a corporate presentation last minute, I'll feel like I want to slap them for a second. I won't do it.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like you might like it might be beef for real. Like, are you crazy? Like
I'm an adult, blah blah blah, skills and understand how to politics and be smart about it. But you're like young. You don't have that yet. And they're fucking with you in like deeper ways where the emotions are bigger and more powerful. So it's just interesting that happened and that it affected you like that.
it did, yeah. It really got to me. Like I remember being really low key with it, doing my little choir one too, but like really just listening at that point. Like I didn't want to be in the mainstream. I didn't want to be a part of it. With the public school, you know what I'm saying? That was a little better because I was having a little easier access. I remember my one boy started burning CDs and shit, right? So I was able to like get access to a couple of albums that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? I still had love for the West Coast though. It was really crazy. Like I remember one of my favorite artists at that time was Corrupt. Like I was just, that was my man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Streets is a Mother is a classic album to this day, if you ask me. So, but I was also, again, East Coast. And I remember at that time, East Coast and West Coast beef was going on and shit, right? So, I wasn't into the KRS-One shit.
So is that
I
like you
wasn't
weren't
good.
allowed to like listen to West Coast? Like, let's just be real. You're the first person I think that's really like emphasized I was like a teenager while that was a thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And that impacted stuff like because I mean you're teenagers, right? So you know certain things matter more to people, like what you listen to
right.
and identities. It's all bigger. So I guess you're like just kind of not allowed on some y'all are East Coast shit.
Basically, like it was just like, I mean, being a teenager, we in the East Coast, I'm in Buffalo. I'm listening to this shit like by myself. You know what I mean? But then one of my best friends who was younger, B Woods and shit, we had a whole crew, like basically all the black kids in that area who were like, there was a bunch of us, but we were just like riding the border we were riding the border of the hood, like middle class, right? So it was a bunch of us. We all knew each other. And I remember his parents was cool as hell. They didn't give a fuck about that. You can buy what they didn't care about the music. So we would go in his basement, play video games for like 27 million hours straight. And then that's when I would get my fucking food. Like he would, you know what I mean? He started playing all the time. He would play everything. He would play everything you could fucking imagine. He
Okay.
played Rock Camp. He would play, you know what I'm saying? He would play whatever you want. Wu-Tang. He would play, at that time, I got introduced to Gangstar. That's when I first heard Gangstar. And like really started going hard. Big L, P Rock. I always knew these cats, but like P Rock, CL Smooth. I really started, this is like 95, 96. So I had to go back a little bit, right? Like 90, I was going back because I was on the West Coast and it was a different sound. So he bumping that old, 2-year-old shit, but I'm getting kind of felt to it. I'm getting, new to it, but then I'm getting kind of caught up. You understand? So then once I got kind of caught up being over there in a couple of months and just really hearing all that shit, now I'm able to like really, really hide this good music from my mom. And then of course when I'm in high school, now I got the CD player on me. So I just keep the music on me. And then I was playing sports too, right? So I was at the fucking, the pregame music, but now that was just really some music that was I always wanted to fucking listen to.
Mm.
So I'm getting fed all through there. And then now, and still going to the choir and singing. So I wasn't like trying to rap. I didn't think my mind was really on sports at this time. You know what I'm saying? I knew I could do it. I knew I could put music together. Like I would do it every once in a while just to play. I knew I could freestyle. I knew I could make music. But at that time, my mindset was, football, sports, basketball. Of course not. I love communications. I love making commercials. I love visual arts. So at that time, my school was good on that aspect. So I knew my lane at a young age. Like I'm gonna at least do, if I ain't gonna do that shit, which I know I might not do, I want to open up my own fucking advertisement firm and like doing commercials, all that shit.
Whoa.
Or I want to do it in radio.
So you figured already at a young age that you were gonna get into ads and that kind of shit because school had that available and showed you that.
Absolutely. In the States, this is the thing that my high school was Williamsville South High School. And that fucking high school, at that time especially, was a great public school. I mean, we had access. This is 95, 96, my freshman year.
Right.
We had accessibility to like Mac computers. Yeah, like we have four computer labs. We were teaching, obviously, keyboard, but we also had like a green screens and like zip drives where you can like we were making highlight tapes and I was
Damn.
and did like niggas like yeah, people will talk about like Photoshop and shit. Yo, we was doing that in 95, 96. That ass. I was making black and white pictures into color. I was changing all that shit. I was doing all that shit in 96, bro. The very first. Making websites. I was doing that in 96. Like PowerPoint presentation.
That's serious though. That's like really, really cool shit. Willie wants to know if any famous people you went to school with
Any famous people that I went to school with.
or went to
Went
that
to
school.
school. Oh, went to my school, Winsville South High School. Oh man, not really. It's my school. I'll keep it G, I'll keep it a buck, what you will. I'm the only G to go to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who else dropping albums, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not. I don't know if anybody's doing what I'm doing. I don't think they are.
Fair
Now,
enough.
there's some athletes that came out. I think there's some hockey players that might, but I don't think none of them are like really legit. Like, I've seen a few, but to keep it funky with you, ain't none of them been like
Willie is
prominent.
correct though. The American schools always do have someone, and this one did have somebody, and it's Cottreezy.
Appreciate that, bro.
Um,
Appreciate that, bro.
But like, okay, so you're going through high school, you're doing all the stuff. You kind of can do all the music. You're not focused. You're playing the sports, and then
Yeah.
comes after that?
So basically just focus playing the sports and then really just I was involved really a lot in the east side of Buffalo. I had a lot of friends out there. It's like the hood, right? So we would just really go and again, my whole life was like sports. So if we was playing sports, like we would go to the courts on Saturday and play at like 4 different courts. At the same time, we ducking gunshots. We ducking all
Okay,
types of wild shit.
serious.
Like, yeah, like, but we was having fun as kids, man. You know what I'm saying? We was outside with it so much. Just surviving off Doritos and Gatorade and like Starburst and some shit, pork rinds, whatever. It's a Haitian treat. And just playing like 30 games of basketball and or we get a bunch of dudes that meet up, bam. You know, we get the open field, tackle football. Hell, if you're in the blacktop, you might play tackle football, fuck it. Like, you know, doing things like that. And then at night, basically, you know, having just it was at that time it was PlayStation 1. So it was
Okay.
like, you know what I'm saying, NBA Live was cracking, Madden was cracking. Like
Mm,
so, you know, we really took it to heart to keep it G. Like that's what we did, man. Um I wasn't I was away from a lot of like I didn't know nobody smoking like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nobody drinking like that, right? Like everybody I was around was like we was runners. You know what I'm saying? We was out there just running. And even when we pull up to cats who was doing that, they knew what time it was with us. We was athlete kind of dudes. You know what I'm saying? So growing up in that point, I was like middle class area that was pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? Going home, but then like on a weekend, my mom literally to give me that black experience would drop me off at my cousin's house or you know make me stay right there on Maston and Eaton and people in Buffalo. If y'all watch this, y'all know exactly what block that is. Maston and Eaton, East Side Fruit Belt every fucking weekend. And she thought I was just getting, you know, hanging around some better black kids that were, you know, different. Nah, man, I was in the hood. We was in the hood. Like we was heavy with it. You know what I mean? These are the church friends. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom did not, she wasn't going to the average church. She would go to the black church in the hoodest of the hood spots. So I kind of commend her for that because then it gives you that upbringing. You know what I mean? Like I've seen a lot that she don't know about. I've been with a lot, like you said, in the choir. Same time, you know, I got people in the choir. I got one dude in the choir. He was in the choir with me. He doing life right now. You
mm.
know what I'm saying? Like locked down life, not getting out ever. So things like that happen too, right? I mean, he was right next, best friend. I have a Bible with him signing it, yo, to my man TJ. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, man.
That's serious. Definitely. I know Montreal has its stuff. Definitely not like my version of Montreal. That's the way I can frame it.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with anything quite like that, but it's a powerful context. I mean, here's the thing: like, you listen to the toot 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 on a Griselda record today, and you're like, we're playing fucking basketball, ducking gunshots when I'm 13, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's why West Side might be
I
like,
mean, I'm gonna tell you like this: like Buffalo is a city that we are not proud of being, you know, a crazy ass fucking city. However, you know what I mean? It's kind of refreshing to see rappers like Westside come out and put that open up that put that hourglass on and say let me introduce y'all because it's let me tell you something. He knows too. Like right this year has been a tough year. It's getting worse obviously, but it's gotten. I mean, I grew up in some tough times. It has gotten a lot better than what it used to be when even me and him and Westside were all the same age. Like Benny, we're all the same age, right? Like that late, like little 80s babies and shit. Like it used to be worse, man. It used to be a lot worse. You know what I'm saying? Like it was for real. It was serious in Buffalo. And there was times where, luckily our church was off limits in the streets. Like nobody was like messing with the fucking church or the school hashtag across the street. But then literally down the block, not even, I'd say, man, you can probably walk there in less than 30 seconds. There's an all girls teenage jail. And it's like spray painted up, barbed wire. It's like the worst of the worst females that are in here. like locked away, like juvenile, talking like 13-year-old females that are killed or done crazy shit. And then literally up the street is the Johnny B. Wiley Stadium, but that was the AKA the rock pile where the Buffalo Bills used to play their first football games. Like literally, and it's now turned into just basketball courts. At that time, it was hood. It was just like brick households, spray paint. Like it was like we was in there sometimes playing ball in those courts and like had to like really do a sweep of like needles and or like there might be some just some bags or literally like dog you out there playing. I remember one time we were playing 21 and like a bunch of us was out there and shots rang pretty close and but nobody won the game 21 yet. So we kind of like checked in, like ducked and waited, and we see people running, and then we just, all right, now finish that shit up. Come on, boom. Like we just finished it up. And literally, we don't know, somebody could have got clapped a little bit, for us, but we just were so used to it. It's not really a thing to be proud of. It's just that's what it was, man. In the States, is a lot of cities like that, but Buffalo is pretty serious because we're small too. Like you can get to the west and the east so quickly. So if there's beef, they will find you and they'll handle it very quickly. And there's a lot of internal jungle justice. Ain't nobody snitching, so the cops can't really solve nothing. So I mean, I've heard of things like that guy got hit, and then he got hit, and then he like it's just a back and forth. And the cops can't even stop it because anybody saying nothing. So you get caught in those crossfires. I used to pray for my mom every time. She'd go to choir rehearsal and Bible study on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, and you know what I mean? And she's a lady walking through the parking lot in the middle of the fucking night. Like I used to be like, what, is this really worth you going to fucking, you know what I mean? To go see God in the middle of the east side off Grata Street. You know what I mean? Like these are streets that these dudes talk about. Fucking Conway's from Mayblock off of Walden. That's literally east side, not too far from Cheektowaga, and it's a very dangerous area, man. You know? I mean, it's just like you can't walk around. Like you walk around, you're not known. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see some shit, feel some shit gonna happen to you possibly. So what they're talking about is real, but it's not like we brag about it like that. You know what I mean? We don't really go, oh, I'm Buffalo, I'm hard. Like we just like it's not cool to have more murders than Toronto. You understand? That's the funny thing about it. I put that out there right now. A lot of people in Toronto, you guys look at the murder rate, and we have almost 300,000 to 1,000,000 people, and y'all got 10 million. And how do we outdo y'all on the murder rate? That's a bad city. It's a very dangerous city. So, and that's nothing compared to like any other ones that are bigger. It's just, I mean, ask the FBI. They said it. Buffalo was one of the most dangerous cities. It was like third last year. Trenton, New Jersey, and I think somewhere else was another one. But Buffalo was right there. And you would never think about it. But come on, like, I've seen it. I've felt it. I've millions of stories I can tell you about shit happening there. But it molds you into a person, and you speak about that in your music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's big, man. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Like, I don't know. I'm a firm believer that, well, it's called Bridge the Gap because of that. It's like, not everyone is going to know what that experience is even remotely like. That was like heavy, Just
yeah. It was.
Like it just adds weight because a lot of people might listen to that and then like mimic it without fully understanding what's going on. And then when it's like you have a choice not to, and then you choose to maybe pursue it. Whereas, like, you're playing basketball, somebody's getting shot at, and then you just say, whatever, and finish the game.
I mean,
that's a big reality. That's all. I don't know how else to put it. It's a heavy, big reality.
It was just like, dog. There was one point I remember somebody getting clapped up the street, and the body just lay there in the middle of the street for like 6 hours in broad day. Like the people had called the ambulance, called the cops to come over, they just didn't come.
Wow.
So he just laid there. You know what I'm saying? Or like, being in the City Grill, which is a downtown right off Chippewa Street, which is with the City Grill incident. And this was a situation that was sad because if 4 people get shot in Buffalo, you probably know one of them. That's how the city works, right? So this one day, this dude literally in one party spazzed out, shot 9 people and killed 7. It was crazy. One of them just happened to be a female that was walking across the street. He just happened to look over there, was watching, just paused, and he saw her looking and shot. Now, how Buffalo operates, he left. They went on a crazy manhunt, whatever. I think he turns himself in a week later at the news station because he clearly was like, he was just a drunk fuck. I mean, they found a gun, all that shit. He had went down to North Carolina, but the person that drove him down to North Carolina was one of his boys from Buffalo. And they shot him right in front of his mother. Like, they didn't play. Like, Buffalo doesn't play around with that shit. There's a lot of jungle justice that happens in the area, which we call jungle justice, which is like, we'll just handle it ourselves. Kind of crime that's kind of crazy, you might just handle it. That's it. So, is it like a city that's really scary? No, because at the same time, we're not trying to just proactively scare people who are from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come around there, ooh, boogie boogie, nah. Like, you might have the homies actually look out for you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you gotta know where you're at.
Usually the word justice implies that somewhere along the way you did something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to speak on shit I don't know, but I just know what the word justice means. Somebody did something.
Absolutely.
So if you don't do anything, there should be no reason for justice, is what I can understand from that. Thus, it's not
Absolutely.
Scary.
Absolutely.
That's blessed. All right, so what happens after high school then?
So high school, man, I end up going Buff State College to play football and to go to college. You know how the fucking states are. Go to high school, go to college. So but I was playing football too, right? I was heavily recruited coming out, football and basketball, but really for football though. So I ended up going to Buff State College, and that's when I moved out of the house at 17, moved to Lisbon Avenue in Bailey, but also stayed on campus, like also stayed in Buffalo on the west side at this point. You know what I mean? Buffalo State's on the west side. So now we're into like west side's full of Spanish and immigrants, like everything else, but mostly Spanish. But the west side was also rough, man. You know, fucking around the west side. You got LA, you got, man, you got so many gangs actually. I can't even really, it's actually funny because it's a really small area, but there's probably like 7 gangs. So we're on the west side. And went to college. College was cool though. You know what I'm saying? It was the typical American college experience. Go to school, cheat in class, don't really learn too much, just learn how to hustle. You know, do a bunch of wild shit, try to stay eligible for football, and try not to party too much and get somebody pregnant. That was basically the gist of college at that point for me. Like, just wilding out, not really learning anything, because it was funny how like in the States, like some colleges were like not even as good as some high schools. So at that time, Buff State was kind of going into a middle transitional period, but they still were a good school, but their technology wasn't up to par like that. So I spent 4 years really there. It was a waste of time, not really, because I love my football. I love my stories. I have best friends to this day that I met through there, and experiences that I'll never forget. A lot of street shit. I ended up bouncing downtown in Buffalo, New York, a place called Soho, which is on Chippewa and Franklin still to this day. And really putting in work. I ain't gonna lie. Like, this is the #1 bar in Buffalo, but at this time, you know, ain't no cameras, ain't no camera phones, man. You know, ain't no cameras on the block or whatever. People get in Buffalo, we stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning. So the bar's closed and it's cheap.
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. We don't close till 4 to this day, still like that. We don't close till 4.
That's serious.
Yeah. So you understand that adds another 2 hours of alcoholic beverage and another, you know, turn up. Like between 3 o'clock and 4, people are ready to like either fuck or kill each other. So I learned how to really get into my fighting in the street sense when I'm bouncing downtown. And it wasn't even a nice club, but we still had to get it in. And then walking to the car from there was always dangerous because it's 4 o'clock in the morning, everybody drunk, and it's a lot of shit. Everybody's out there. Make sure that everybody from gangs to classy people to drunk people, whatever. So you got to watch your shit. We had to walk a lot of cocktail waitresses to their cars, like literally, because they were scared shitless, and they rightfully so. It was wild out there. It was insane. But at the same time, I love that shit. I loved it, and again, I'm playing football. I know I'm getting better and bigger every year. So I'm getting, looked at by pros. So my direction is again there now. Fucked around like my senior year, my boys, they put together this group called 305, which was a bunch of us, like half football, but we had one dude who was like this ill producer from Harlem. He was the only one with like, the laptop and like the little mic and shit, but he had ill beats. Like he was creating crazy shit. So 305 was like the room number that like it all started from. So we called it 305. So I remember doing like 3 songs, basic shit. I remember one time I made some song with this girl I just met named Nikki, and I was, in love with her. I met her parents and all that shit. I had the girl singing in the background. It was tight. Like it was actually pretty cool. And I remember us doing just funny songs, funny freestyles about like how your pussy stank and all this dumb shit. Like we was having fun. Like, but yeah, it was like hilarious. At the same time, there was actually some glimpses of greatness in there that I would hear because like people would be like, "Yo, you actually sound kind of hot." But I wasn't thinking about them. Like, I'm not gonna be one of these football players trying to rap either because at that time that was corny too. Like the only motherfucker that could do that successfully at that point was Shaquille O'Neal. Everybody else that tried to do that sports and rap or sports and music shit was never popping like that. So I did not cross my fucking mind to do anything, to drop albums or whatever. But music at this point, when I'm in fucking college, was heavy. Now I'm buying my own shit. Now I'm because I couldn't wait to move out. My mom's like, "You want to move out? You good?" I'm like, because she was trying to put the fucking curfew on me at 17. When I was in college, I'm like, "Yo, I'm out of here, yo. I don't give a fuck what I got to do. I don't care if I got to eat top ramen for 6 months straight. I'm out of here." And I got fucking tatted up and started fucking like listening to whatever I wanted to listen to. Again, still listening to E40, still listening to that West Coast shit. But then again, mixing it with, all my East Side shit. I remember at that time, Big L had just died. I remember that shit. It was 2000. And he had just died like the year before. So I remember I really got to him. You know how it goes when people pass away, unfortunately, you hear about him even more. So his content came out. So I remember Big L was bopping my whole freshman year. We bought Big L heavy. And then we in the club with it, right? And so I remember at the time, Jada Kiss was popping with me. My one boy Haas, he was him and his brother were making some raps and shit, but they was on some different shit. They was on some like Spider-Man webs and like other crazy shit that I wasn't really into, right? So yeah, I remember the first time though, right? I love Ghostface too. Ghostface was one of my favorites. I don't know what compelled me to write or try to write like Ghostface, but I tried. And I didn't make any sense whatsoever what I was saying. I was just writing words that rhymed that made literally no sense. Like I remember this line. It was like footloose Nautica suits. And I don't know what the fuck that meant. Like, but I just was trying to like replicate what I was hearing. But I didn't know at the time. I just didn't understand because I wasn't conscious enough to know what they were actually saying. Because it was always like, you know what I mean? Like I had to like hide it, read it, da da da. It's kind of funny how now when I listen to it, it's so basic for me. But back then I just didn't know, so I'm just trying to make da da da. So then I get there, get to college, and then I'm getting recruited by like the Vikings and shit like that. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I know this football land is going to be real. So I obviously I just want to listen to music and bump that shit. Maybe start a label or something. I know music, I wanted to be in that shit, but it wasn't heavy. This is 2003, 2004. We started getting into, and people really weren't, again, football players and musicians weren't really like that. It was always like they wanted our money to invest in their label or into their dream. They didn't want, what I'm saying, to collab. And at the time, I knew I could sing too. Now I know I could sing. I do a little something, so I knew I was all right. But man, got to the Vikings and then shit got real, man. Shit got real. I had a good.
So how do you get drafted to a Vikings? Like I know what a Vikings is, but how does one get
Yeah.
drafted? I've personally talked to very few people that have told me just dead ass with all casualness too. I was playing football. The Vikings scouted me, and then I went to the Vikings. Like, oh man, you gotta elaborate a little bit more on making the NFL.
So, senior year, my dad's coaching at the time, right? Still, he's in the leagues in the NFL.
Mm.
So I got connections as a kid because when you're in the NFL, I was ball boying. So now you got coaches out there that's kind of like got their eye on you. You feel me? Like I was lucky to be kind of like behind the scenes already. Like they knew me already. No matter what my college was doing, they were like, yo, you're gonna be okay. Just work hard. You'll at least get like, we'll bring you in for like a fucking 2-day trial at least. Like that's the minimum. That's the minimum you could fucking, you know what I'm saying, not get. So went there, boom. Going into my senior year was a tough year, so I didn't know if I was going to get, really signed or drafted, right? But I had gotten like there was like the Bills that came through. I had a couple pro days the year before, which pro days just like
Wait,
the
what's the
NFL, like the
difference between
Bills.
signed and drafted?
So drafted is like on draft day they call your name out. Like you're part of the rounds, like the first round, second round, third round. When you get signed, they call you literally seconds after that. Like literally you're home, they hang your phone up, and then you might have like 10 teams like, yo, why don't you come here for a try? Why don't you come here for a try? So now you gotta see which team is gonna be the best for you to actually make it, or like you could literally go in there one day and get your ass kicked and leave. Because it's too talented for you. So I knew that the Vikings had called me before. They're like, if you don't get drafted, we're gonna take you. We're gonna call you up and offer you a deal. So just watch the draft because you never know. But that's what's going to happen. So I put up okay numbers in like my pro days. Like I was pretty good. I was pretty fast. 4.52, 40, you know what I'm saying? Speed. Everything was good in the combine. But
Wow.
like I was coming from a small school. Go ahead.
So basically the draft happens, you don't get drafted, and you get signed.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. Like
Is it better to
you
get
literally,
drafted or signed? I guess.
yes, it's better to get drafted for your chances to make the team. Absolutely. Because if they get drafted, that means they're putting more money. They're investing more money.
Hmm.
Like you get drafted in the first round, motherfucker, back then you might get $20 million just to sign. You know what I'm saying? And then like the sixth round, you'll still get like $100,000 to sign. Whereas if you're a free agent, now they might give you like 10 grand to sign, depending on who you are. But you see how the investment goes. So like if you're gonna draft a second round pick, he's gonna have to make the team. You just invested $20 million in this motherfucker. You know what I'm trying to say? Like he gonna be there for at least 3 years. Like he ain't gonna make it. We're gonna make him make it. Like that's how they would do it. Like
Yeah,
so,
so
your odds of
basically,
making the
like,
team
and
are
then
really
there's
bad
also
if you.
like the draft is televised, so it's also like you're putting up your reputation and stake, blah blah blah. So then, okay, that makes sense.
Dog, how about this? There were some dudes that were like they thought they were getting drafted, even in the third round or something, right? So they have a draft party. They have a party, expecting at one point that they're gonna get that call during this party, and they don't get that call. So it's kind of like it's like a party, but then it was like kind of odd, like, oh, maybe next time, like you know what I mean? So it's cool if you knew you're getting drafted in the first, second round. Yeah, of course, like you know it, like you'll know. You know what I'm saying? You'll have some people around your house. Da da da. It happens, cool. But me, I knew I wasn't. Like I was, the chances that I watched it, but the chances of it happening were very low. Like I was only like, okay, so in college in the States, there's Division I, which are the big college schools, Penn State, Syracuse, whatever. D1 AA, there's a little smaller schools like that, like Mississippi State or something like that, Mississippi State, whatever. Then there's Division II, which is like even smaller. Then there's Division III, independent, where we were, which is even smaller than that. But we were independent, so we were so good, we would play Division I AA teams with scholarships and shit. Like we would beat them. We beat UB, we beat Robert Morris. So I'm coming from a smaller school, D3, and the chances of me getting drafted were they still like, I still had like three teams like, yo, we're looking like it's okay. And here's the thing, I was supposed to play in this Senior Bowl, which is like, all-star game for the seniors. I caught strep throat 2 weeks before,
Oh,
and I lost like 20 pounds. Yeah. So it was like my dad. I remember me and my dad. Like, I can't go out there. I'm gonna be 20 pounds because they're weighing you and you're doing a pro day and playing. So I can't go out there 20 pounds underweight and shit. Da, da, da. And if I would have played, I know for a fact I probably would have got drafted because I was already bigger and better than all the motherfuckers. I knew I was. Like talent wise and size wise, I was raw, but I knew I was always gonna like show my side, be okay with them motherfuckers out there, right? Because I ended up seeing them, right? So the day happens, and then I get a call right after, like, hey, you want to come out to Minnesota and give this a shot? I was like, sure, you know. And I was actually even, how about this? It was like a 2-day tryout situation. It wasn't even a free agency signing where they signed your free agency, boom, now you have at least all till preseason to sign. They give me a 2-day tryout. Now my dad's even coaching too, but it was like the numbers were fine, but I was coming from a small school and my stats were really good, but they were okay. It was like I had a bad quarterback, new head coach, my fucking last 2 years, so it wasn't like I was there. I was pre-All-American, but I wasn't. So I had a 2-day tryout, which means I flew in and then I had to sign an insurance waiver that said that if I got hurt during these 2-day tryouts, that I would cover my own expenses.
Yeah, that's fucked up. No, I mean, it's fucked up, like, when you look at it through the lens of, like, I never cared about football, so I'm so happy to go down fuck the NFL rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. And when you look at how much money they make, it's like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
At least put up half the medical bills.
Look, yeah, dead ass, right? So, like, but it was funny because I went out there, right? And I didn't even have it. Like, I was one of those dudes. I didn't even have a name on my jersey. They was going like, let me go out there for 2 days, see what happened. And my dad's coaching on the defensive side too, right? So he used to watch me, but me and him are really good at like not being father son during that time. It was coach. Like I just looked at him like, coach, I didn't give a fuck. Like, of course there'd be little moments here, but I was like, you're just a coach, shut up, like whatever. And he was the same way. He would be coaching against me, like wouldn't be old guy. But this time he's watching me because it's like my first day there, right? No lie, first day there. I go out and it was a simple, just an out route. So I'm just going straight to the sideline. The guy hikes it, I go to the sideline, he throws it. But it was like I was already covered and the ball was coming in hot, like high as fuck, but I still caught that bitch, like snapped it out the air. Like everyone was like, ooh, and it was so simple, but it was such a difficult catch right away that it caught the eye of like everybody right away. And my dad was even sitting there. He was like pumping his fist like this. He couldn't hold it because it was one of those moments like he couldn't hold it because it was like the first day. You're talking like legends are out there. Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss, fucking like all these fucking people out there that are just like watching this shit. And this is how I'm going to tell you how I got to my name. So I'm going to get to that. We're getting close to that shit too. So Randy Moss is out there like, and they like, woo, they talking shit right away, right? So boom, I have a good day like that. I keep on having a great day. By the end of the second day, they end up cutting one of the second string tight ends, which is my position, who was there for like 4 years. His name was Stackhouse. And they end up, his number was 45 too. They end up cutting him and then officially signing me to the deal and being like, yeah, let's go. Let's start this up. So it was like coming from the bottom. For real, and then being able to at least get my name on my fucking jersey. Like it was like now I was able to train and shit and get right, you know what I mean, for training camp and shit like that. You know what I mean? So that's when it started. But then Randy Moss legitly go ahead.
So training camp, is it similar to the Remember the Titans training? That's the best frame of reference. That's it. That's
like,
what I'm working with.
Like, okay, so like in high school, back then, yeah. Like, I hated the fact that they was like, yo, we ain't getting, like, yeah, I remember being out there, like, in high school, being with those hardcore coaches that were all old school and they were idiots, actually, fucking doing some wild shit. But in professional, you're talking about players that are getting paid too much money for you to be doing all that dumb shit. So it's love. Actually, when I look back on it, I missed those practices, even though, like, back when you're in it, and it's long, you feel like it's kind of long, came into it's over because it's more stress. When you play in the NFL and you're trying out for the team, so to speak, you are in a stress moment because any mistake, they see that shit. So you ain't just like out here getting better. You're trying to survive, yo. So your stress level is so fucking high during training camp, especially. Like I'm talking like it is like you're praying. I was just like, reading and praying in like every practice, every play, it was just like a game time thing. And it built you up, you built your character because you're going to make a fucking mistake. You're going to do something wrong. You know what I'm saying? You might get barked at. You know what I mean? You might get barked at and it wasn't even you. You know what I mean? They just embarrassing the fuck out of everybody. Like, you know what I mean? And you have to overcome that shit to do your job and know that like, yo, I'm here for a reason, man. I'm not just out here just fucking, trying and I'm about to be cut, man. Fuck this. Yo, he ain't even better than me. Look at this dude over here. This dude's making fucking $3 million. Like, what the fuck is this dude? Like, what you mean? I'm gonna take his bread right now. Like, he's not me. And so you had that, and then he looking at you like, look at this motherfucker. You hear like it's internal positional competition on top of like you having to know plays and having to also be on top of your shit. So training camp was, when you were trying out for a team, especially, it was stressful as fuck, man.
Hold up.
It was legitly stressful.
And you're the dude that catches the ball from the quarterback?
Yes, tight end, right? Yeah, so I'm like a receiver type, but I also block, right? So I was bigger, so I can kind of block also and then go out. But I was fast too, so most of them are receiving tight end. Like if guys know like a Travis Kelce today or some guy like that, but Tony Gonzalez was my homie like that. Like I'm actually, he was my idol coming up. Real talk, like Tony Gonzalez was the dude. But and then I end up, I'll get to that in a little bit. But like the tight ends on my side, in my position, weren't like legendary tight ends. They're Jim Kleinsasser and Jermaine Wiggins at the time. And these dudes, I was just young and not ready here to know where I was at, to really lock it down my freshman year, my first year. Like my first year, it was like I was just happy to be there and I was overwhelmed with shit. Like, yo, dog, first year I get there, right? I get signed, I get to the first mini camp, I do a good mini camp. The first Friday, we all get invited to a Playboy party downtown. So I'm there, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got my sidekick at the time, flipping shit up. Like, I'm not focused. My ass should have been fucking home, reading more fucking plays, doing my shit, like really focusing on what I was at. But I was just so happy just to make it to that point at one point.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. There's not many times in life you get invited to a Playboy party. Like,
There's not.
Maybe if you're an NFL player, that happens a lot more often. Most of us don't become NFL players. I don't know.
Well,
I hear what you're saying, because then there's more Playboy parties in the future. But like, still,
But like, here's the thing. Like, it wasn't even that Gito, right? Like, it was very disappointing. Like, went to Escape. It wasn't like you in picture. Like, I was going to the Playboy party. I'm thinking like, yo, I seen the goddamn TV show. You gotta be butt naked motherfuckers walking around everywhere. Like, I'm talking about like everything gotta be. No, I forgot. You're still in the city. That's like restricted. This isn't a strip club. So they just walking around with like the simple, 2-piece. But then it's like, Miss Playboy 2001 and it's 2004, Miss Playboy 98, and they just in there like, and you're not allowed to take a picture with them. You gotta keep your hands down to your side on your lap. Do not touch. They touch you. Like, it was just so like, here's the big Playboy heart bed. Oh, look at that. Take a picture of that. And then, oh, good God, here's this beautiful girl stripping, but not stripping because she ain't going to show the titties really like that. She's there in this martini glass. I did not expect
the
that.
Playboy
I was disappointed
video game
in that
lied
shit.
to me. There was like on the Xbox this game that was like The Sims or whatever with missions where you built the Playboy mansion and you hired bunnies and shit. And there was blurred boobies in that game. So it fucking
blurred boobies. You understand what I'm saying? So like, it just was. It wasn't like it was popping like that, but at the same time, football players, the lifestyle. You go out there, meet some girl, boom. So it was a cool night, but it was just like, I was just so happy to be I was just so happy to be there. Like, I met somebody, let's go. Not a bad night. come on back, you know. But to say like I'm not fucking there. Like this shit I had gotten past, but like when I look back on, it, I was like, motherfucker, like you had it in your head, you dig? Like so, summertime come through and I'm training. Have an okay training camp, but then end up getting not like end up literally getting cut that year and then re-signed back to like a future contract. What they did is they're saying, okay, because what they had is an NFL Europe. So it was the minor league of the NFL. So they're like, yo, don't go nowhere though, because we're gonna sign you. You're gonna stick around here. You're gonna work, and then at the end of the season, you're gonna go to NFL Europe, which the season started like March of the next year, and then you're gonna represent the Vikings over in Europe. You're still a Minnesota Viking, and then you'll get some extra work, and then when you come back, bro, you're gonna make the squad. Like you're gonna be here because then you'll be allocated, and you'll be here to the end of training camp minimum, and you're gonna make the team probably. And they knew it. It was just an off year for me. I was rookie. It was like, yo, boom, coming out. So I did that. Got re-signed like literally in like October. So it was cool. Like I was like not signed for like a couple weeks. Now I was signed right back. Then got allocated to NFL Europe. Was training. Had a great off-season training.
Where in Europe?
Was really coming to my mind. Frankfurt Galaxy in Frankfurt. Now I'm gonna tell you this one. The story is getting real. I gotta take a bow with this one because the story of Cottreezy gets real. Now, before I got re-signed back, one of the Randy Moss, Hall of Famer, he had actually, like during training camp, I had a couple good plays, but I still got cut. So during the time, he would talk shit for you. So he came up with the name. He's like, yo, Cottreezy. That's Treezy, yo, Cottreezy. He literally was just like, Treezy. Like he just kind of was called Treezy, and then a couple other teammates like, yo, Cottreezy. They literally named it like, after one play where I caught it, and he was just talking shit. I like literally caught a corner route over this linebacker and like mossed him, which means I caught it over his head, right, and brought it down. And they said, Cottreezy. So boom, I fast forward. He's off the team now because he got traded, coming on to 2005. So I go to NFL Europe March, and we go to Tampa Bay. I have a great, before we go to fucking, the training camp is in Tampa Bay before we go to
Right.
So I have a great training camp, right? But then I get this fucking eye infection, literally, in my right eye that caused like a cyst right down here. That caused a huge fucking lump, right? They had to bring it down. I had to go there, had to get the shit cut. Like I'm talking about stitches, like live. I got 9 nurses. I'm holding on. They're cutting it out, gauzing it out. I end up having to stay in Alabama and training for like 3 weeks while the team went over there, right? And got right. So finally, I get over there. I'm in Alabama training, whatever, for a long time. I get over there in 2005. And I see all my boys because I was having a good season. I was having a good, time, but I see my boys in Frankfurt. Get to Frankfurt. I'm on the practice squad. Next thing you know, 2 weeks, they actually, Frankfurt trades me to the Rhine Fire, which was in Cologne. Right? Mm. So Cologne was popping. Like Cologne was popping. Right? I'm in Cologne, Old City type of area. There's like this one area where it's called Old City, where it's like 90 bars in this one area. Right. And it's like, I remember it's Old Louisiana, which was like the American spot bars. So we up in there, and it was just beautiful people, beautiful and all the time drinks, good times. Right. Then there was this other spot called Checkers, which was right down the street, which was more like it was popping, but the Turkish mob kind of owned that. A bunch of Turkish people doing that, but it was a good spot. So one night we go there. This is about 3 weeks into it, so we all had got a kind of connection. I mean, with some cool dudes. We had some good times. We get there. We go to Checkers. Now, Checkers, I didn't know we weren't supposed to even be going there because I just got traded to the team, and I'm going with like 30 other people. So apparently we weren't even supposed to be going there. But I'd already went to this club before. Like the first couple of days I got there, I went to before. I had a great time. I talked to one of the bouncers one day. Like, I knew a little German, but they spoke English too. So I remember one time I was hammered. I don't know, this dude, this huge Turkish dude. We just ended up just talking, like just having a real convo. He looked intimidating as fuck. Like, I remember just looking at him, not being intimidated, but I'm like, yo, this dude's a fucking G. Like, what the fuck? And he just remember just talking to me, like, what's up? How you doing? Like, it was amazing. But the fucking 1 week we go in there, now mind you, this bar is a spot where you pay your tab at the end of the night. They give you punch cards at the time. So you know how it go down. Or you can see how people would try to just dupe dip, right? The dude, Chaz Moore is his fucking name. He was on our team. I can't remember what position he was, but he was on our team. So we're getting ready to go into the spot. Like it's in a shopping mall outdoor area, and it's up like these stairwells, correct? Right. So you got to go up the stairwells, and then you go to the spots right there. So there's one way in and one way out, obviously, right? So you go there, and then you go into the spot, but the bouncers are there. They lined up, and they were like waiting for us. And now these bouncers ain't even really that big. Paint the picture. They got these Turkish dudes. They're like 5'10" UFC fighters. I respect it though, because the UFC, you got fight, you can knock me the fuck out. Like, I'm not even on it. And I've been in the spot, so they kind of knew me. So like, we going up, they stop, and then like one dude was like, they're like looking at Chaz Moore, like kind of pointing at him. And the guy goes, you guys are good. You can come in. But that guy, Chaz Moore, he can't. He didn't pay his tab last time. So he is now embarrassed. Now, mind you, Chaz Moore is there with his fucking girlfriend. Keep that. Mind you this, she's the only girl there too. So you would think this motherfucker would have a calm head to not put her in danger. She had traveled like all the way, you know what I'm saying, from Arizona to fly to see him in fucking Cologne, Germany, to stay for like 3 weeks, right? Chaz Moore is a hothead. He gets pissed off, talking shit. Now, mind you, they're ready. A guy comes out and actually flashes a samurai sword in his bucket. He's like, well, what's the problem? And I'm like, yo, nothing. Like, the guy's like, Chaz is like saying, I did pay my time. I did. He's livid. So finally, I'm like, yo, let's just leave. Like, yo, Old City is right over there. Like, we'll go back to old fucking Louisiana. I'm sorry, old Louisiana's. We'll go back over there. It's popping, like, no big deal if we don't go on the spot. I bet, let's go. So as we're walking, I tell them, like, you guys gotta move, because they gotta move out the way for us to get down the stairwell. And they were cool. They're like, I bet. I'm like, sorry, my bad. We'll leave. And they're like slapping me up. Everything's cool. There's like 9 of them. There's a bunch of, it's getting hot, it's getting tense, but we have calmed it down. So as we're leaving, Chaz Moore gets pissed off and spits in the face of one of them. Now, mind you, again, let me remind you, I'm Minnesota Viking. I'm fucking still from the Vikings. I'm like signed, you know what I mean, Cologne, to the Ryan Fire, whatever. He spits in their face. I look over to the right and I see a guy. I forgot what he said in German, but it was basically like, oh, that's it. We'll be right back. You know what I mean? Like, he's yelling over there. Like, and they all ran inside. They didn't come after us. They all ran inside. So I knew, I'm like, yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Cause they ain't come, like, they going back to get their shit. Like, what you thinking? So we pushing them down. Chaz is talking shit. And literally we get down to the area where the shopping area, there's 2 stores down here. There's 2 stores and there's walking street to street. And I can feel it. And I hear yelling and footsteps running. And everybody who was in front of me was like 20 football players, and like Chaz up there with his girl. They took off running, like, immediately. And I don't know what compelled me to literally just turn around and face that shit. Like, I literally went at them. 3 dudes with a bat. I turned around, was like, what? Like, it was almost like, to me, the universe, the Most High, put me in that position to be the sacrifice or to create the story of Cottreezy, whatever. But I turned around and I looked and I see the 2 dudes that I was talking to the most anyway. So I'm like, yo, what's up? You know me. And they did. They kind of run up and they like stop a little bit, but then they look to the left and to the side. And as I don't even see it, I just feel like pink, and a baseball bat comes square to my fucking dome. Boom. No lie, I laughed as I'm going down, because I'm like, yo, I'm dying like this. Because at the time, I'm still crazy TJ Cottreezy. Like, I'm 23 years old, I'm wilding. You know what I mean? I just got into the league in a year and a half. and I'm still not like conscious about what the fuck I'm doing. I'm like, I'm ready to die. Who cares? Like I was still in that shit. A lot of stuff was going on in my childhood that was coming back, and like a lot of pain. So although I had a level head, and I had a level head because at the time I was bouncing, I've been in so many fights. I was like, yo, fuck, I'm not trying to fight. No, I'm trying to go in the club and get like, you know what I'm saying, feel something, take something home. What the fuck you doing? Like, I'm trying to get some girls in this bitch and go and get the fuck out of here. As much as I was a level head to like say, all right, let's just leave. No big deal. Let's get the fuck out of here. I turn right around and face that shit. And the bat hits my face. I laugh and I go down. I see the guy with the samurai sword. All of a sudden the sword's out. And I feel kicking. I'm moving up. And I look up and I see the sword down like this. The guy's like right there. And literally, I smile again and I put my neck up like that. Like, just go ahead and end it. Like, dog, I don't care. This is it. Bobby John, another D lineman from the other side, just so happened to be on the side, I guess. I don't know how this fucking happened, but he tackles the guy with the sword. The sword rolls around. I guess apparently, this is what he told me because I don't even see this shit. But because at this point, I just go black. I don't even remember anything. But he tells me that Bobby John, tackled the guy with the sword. The sword rolls. The guy kind of like caught his balance and realized what he was going on, put the sword back and walked out. All I remember is the sword going down, putting my neck down. And then I hear the scream of Chaz Moore's girlfriend, like a ratchet, like she knew I was going to die. So the last thing I heard was this screaming. And I'll never forget it. It still goes in my head. Like this woman just deathly screaming. It's almost like if your girl saw you, someone just about to kill you, like the screaming wretchedness of it. I wake up, and I'm like, my boys are like kind of carrying me up I'm getting my bearings right, whatever. I just come to and I'm bleeding through my nose, I'm bleeding through my ears, I'm bleeding through my eyes. My jaw I'm talking like this, it's all out of place. I go in there and now all these guys are running back and they going crazy, da-da-da-da. The cops come, nobody gets arrested. And they literally throw me in like the ambulance. I'm like going crazy because I'm like half drunk and shit. I'm like, I ain't got insurance out here. Y'all fucking crazy. Like I was doing wild shit. I remember this one other female who happened to be, I didn't know, but she happened to be a nurse and she just came with us. I don't even know who she was. She guided me. I couldn't even recognize this girl if I saw her now, but she was there and she guided me through the hospital. I remember I had a Banana Republic shirt. This shit was just done. It was a flower shirt too. Shit was just bloody all done. I get to the hospital. And then they transferred me to another hospital where they thought that like, they wanted to do like a surgery, and what ended up happening is I ended up fracturing my eye orbital right here. And then pretty much fracturing some cheekbones, breaking my nose, all that shit. So the Vikings are like, they're calling what's going on. And my dad is also coaching. He's about to kill somebody. Like he's like livid because the story comes out now, right? Like the story really comes out of what truth was happening and what happened. Like, he was just trying to be there. He was just trying to do the best he can. He wasn't even part of that shit. He got hit. And literally like, I remember MySpace was popping at the time and my MySpace was going off. Like, I had people like even the guy that hit me was like, he was scared all of a sudden. I had a lot of people who I knew. And basically, I get to Germany. They're like, I'm in Germany, I'm sorry. They're like, I'm in Cologne, I'm sorry. They're like, we got to get you to Alabama, Birmingham. Because I'm like, I'm not having a surgery. So we hop on a med jet and we got to go up and come down, right? Because the elevation has to stay low. So I go up and now we get to touch down in Iceland. I get to get out and chill in Iceland for like 3 hours. Now, mind you, my face is fucked up. I don't care anymore. I got a black eye. No, I went to Burger King at the time. This is when I was eating meat shit. I went to Burger King at the time, got a Whopper, and bit it, and half my teeth down here just started coming out. I spit that shit. I was just like, raw whatever. Raw whatever. I just care about eating my shit. Like I was just like that. Like I was on some like, my life is over, maybe, I don't know. But they said like, you have strong bones. And how he hit you was just right. You'll be back in 6 weeks if this surgery goes well. You'll be back in 6 weeks if the surgery goes really well. So like, literally like we get there and I get to Iceland, get to chill out in Iceland. I come down through Goose Bay, Canada, right? Come down to Toronto. From Toronto, then I go to Alabama, Birmingham, and I have the surgery. The surgery is serious though. They cut the inside of my mouth. They take out my cheekbone. They drill the plates in. They shove it back in. And then this side right here, they put the plates up. Like I have plates. I have titanium plates all through here. Right here.
That's serious.
So I get back to training camp. I'll get back to, like, I'm actually part of the Vikings now. Because now the NFL also is involved. So they're like, yo, we're going to keep this low, but he's going to, he'll be fine. So after I have surgery, I get back to Minnesota. And I start training and I get ready for training camp. And I just so happened to be ready a week before training camp started. And then that year, I made the motherfucking team.
Wow.
In 2005.
Can I just say that ranks is up there in the stories? I've talked to a lot of people with a lot of stories. That's a story.
It don't even stop there.
Not a lot of people's stories about getting
Appreciate
smashed by Turkish mobsters in front of a club while trying to diffuse a situation started by another guy.
Yeah.
On some like, wow. All of that was wow. I had nothing.
And then like
it was just big.
It's crazy, man. And like, I mean, 05 was like a good year. You know what I mean? I was ready for it. I was mentally prepared for it. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to go to training camp. I was making plays. I was out there making a name. Cottreezy was real. You know what I mean? And then I ended up fracturing my ankle. And like basically on some freak practice shit. So it was kind of heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was like, when I look back on it, it was really heartbreaking actually, because that was my year. That was a good year, but I learned a lot. I was able to sit the sideline and learn a lot. Like I was there, you know what I mean, through the whole season. And
so you basically were like on that injured reserve thing.
Injured reserve, absolutely, yeah. And
so
then the injured like reserve
an actual Viking.
Yeah. Like I made the squad and then got hurt. Like it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, like it was unbelievable. Like basically, it really came to a point now. 2006, you're gonna laugh. 2006, literally, a new head coach called Childress comes in, and he's clearing house. Like he gets rid of like a bunch of people that were on the previous regime, including players. So as soon as I got back off my injury, I got back 2 months before I was supposed to even play. He cut me, like 2006, they cut me, boom. Right? So I had a couple of teams interested, whatever. But I ended up, pretty much working out. And then, you're going to love this. An ABA basketball league, which is like, there's like an NBA, NBA 2. There's a bunch of like little minor leagues like the ABA and the CBA. ABA was serious. ABA had players from Russia. They had an expansion team in Minneapolis. At the same time, I got a call from the San Diego Chargers, who are now the LA Chargers, because Kyle Smith, which was the general manager of that team, knew me as a kid. Like he knew me he was part of the Buffalo Bill regime back when my dad was coaching too in the 90s. Now he's a GM in San Diego. He sees I got cut. He's like, what we're going to do is we're going to allocate you back to Europe. You got some business to handle over there. I'm like, you're right. So I ended up 2006 taking a year off of football, but then playing in the ABA basketball league for the Minnesota Ripknees. Literally, this character was called Ripknees. And we played all through the Midwest, man. We played everywhere. We played fucking Arkansas, a lot of teams in Minneapolis, but then we actually went down to the East Coast a couple of times. We played in St. Louis, Midwest, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois. Played some good squad and some former college stars who maybe don't make the big leagues, but they got some leagues and we got paid good. Like I got paid like $2 a week just to play basketball. So I was able to train for the San Diego Chargers at the same time instead of having to like work at C.H. Robinson and do accounts payable, which was I was doing that before. So he was like, nah, get out of there. You're gonna be back in the league. So now I remember that. I remember the time too. I was dating this girl named Shantae, and she was an R&B singer, and she was an aspiring singer. And I remember she dumped me around 2006. She didn't know about what was going on with the San Diego Chargers because it was on the low. So then 2007, February, I signed, and I was like, bitch, like, you know what I'm saying? Well, how you like that? And I remember she was just trying to get with me again. I was like, yeah, okay, of course you are. So 2007, I signed to the San Diego Chargers. And boom, they're going to allegate me to NFL Europe again. And first, my dad's like, you'll never go back there ever again after that shit. 2007, I'm not there. I'm like, yo, I'm going back. Fuck it. Because I'm probably going to play on a different, like a Frankfurt team. The one team that traded me, they felt bad for trading me. So they wanted me to come back. They're like, yo, we need to come back for our team. We need you. You got to finish business. And literally, man, 2007, Frankfurt Galaxy took me, made the squad, went over there to Frankfurt Galaxy and played in Frankfurt. But I was in a different team, right, than I was when I got hurt, or I'm sorry, when I got fucking hit with a baseball bat. However, that team plays Cologne, called the Ryan Fire. They play him in Ryan Fire. So one of the weeks I was in there, probably the third week that I went in there, I go to the exact spot it happened on the night before fucking the game. And I go to the spot, checkers is still there, and everything is still there. Now, there are some things that have happened to even the guy that got hit in the bat. He's not around. But, like, we went up, I went there, stood right there and looked at it. My face looked just like it does right now. Now, mind you, people around had heard what happened to me. So when I went to the other bar, I was an all-star. The owner came out, he just kept touching my face. They knew what happened. They gave me like 4 bottles of liquor. I couldn't even I had a game next day. I can't drink shit. I was just like, yo, I can't drink this shit. Like, what y'all doing? We had a curfew at like 11. So it was like, 9:30, 10 o'clock on Friday, happy hour shit cracking. And then, boom, I leave there, but then I'm like, yeah, I gotta make a stop. So I went right to front of checkers. I was like, what's up? And I see the dudes looking, and they just basically just look back. And they knew that I didn't snitch either, because the one guy was like, we need you guys we will think about you talking again. But I'm like, they didn't have any, Germany doesn't have any laws that protect anybody like me, as far as like, if I got some money off of it or nothing like that. You know what I mean? It was going to be a long process that I didn't feel like doing. And plus, I had an ego. I'm signed to the Chargers. I'm going to get my money. Like, fuck you. That's what I thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So I didn't say anything. I just went to the exact spot, looked at them, kept it moving. And went back and played that entire team. We ended up getting second place. We ended up losing the fucking World Bowl Championship that year. But played that year and then got back to San Diego, man, and ended up having to be able to a good time with Antonio Gates and San Diego Chargers, Phillip Rivers, a couple guys like that on the squad. That year was crazy because I got to meet some real all-stars like LaDainian Tomlinson, Phillip Rivers, Sean Merriman. These guys are like, at one point, Sean Merriman at one point we thought was Hall of Fame. Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer. Damian Thompson, Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Guys like that, for real. I was able to fucking play with. Antonio Gates is a future Hall of Famer. He was in my position. So he was cool as hell because this dude was a Hall of Famer. And I remember just him calling me on my phone. And I was like, I had a boost phone at that time too. Like, I was still in my grind. So you see Antonio Gates on the boost phone, and you pick it up, you're like, yo, this is like, this dude makes like 50 mil. You out there with your couple grand and shit. He's still impressed me. He was humble. He was a Detroit, he was a Michigan kid. So he was humble as fuck too, even though he was like, making so much money. So 2007, that happened.
Yeah, that's big. I gotta pause for a second. If it's all right with you, I gotta use the washroom real quick. I'm gonna go.
Go ahead, bro. You're good.
What I'm gonna do. Nah, it's good. Plus you say Sky Beats, which makes that one like more.
Sky Beats.
Which I appreciate. That's a cool dude from Montreal, if you don't know him.
All day, man. Shout out to Sky Beats, for sure.
I'm just trying to get the fucking window open. All right, cool. We good again. Yeah, I appreciate all of that. And definitely we're going to get to all of these things. It's all chronological. Every time I go through this thing chronological, and the same people get eager, and they're like, I want to hear about this part. And I'm like, we'll get there. We'll get there. Like, we're in the middle of the fucking NFLs and fucking, I think the Chargers is NFL. I don't even know. I was just running with it, like, just in case.
You good.
I'm like,
you good.
Like, we're having NHL. I never talked to an NFL player before. That's a
Appreciate
first.
that, King. Yeah, man.
Like that's
Appreciate
like
that, man.
how fucking cool is that? Like
Appreciate it,
like
man.
I didn't even know. I no idea. That's
Yo,
like I would have written that
that
shit
ass.
if I had known that shit.
I don't, I mean, I put it out there, but like, yeah, what I mean. I like to make a little surprise with it, but it's also as it's humbling, man. I didn't play for no like, I didn't like the amazing career and crazy highlights. You know what I'm saying? I'm just one of the few, but I'm fortunate to even make it there. I'm fortunate to say at one point in the world I was one of the top like 100 fucking athletes in
But
this
you got
entire
to
bitch,
like
right?
run out with the people and go in the
Yeah,
stadiums and play football with the elitist
mm,
football players and
yeah,
did the NFL thing.
yeah. It's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. I mean, at one point, especially in like in Minnesota, yeah, like little kids know who you are. And shit. It's a pretty
Yeah,
crazy thing. Like saying your last name, oh Cottreezy, like they, you know what I mean? Because you're making a name for yourself.
that's
You get an
crazy.
article and you see people screaming your name from the top of the Raptors that you don't even know, things like that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's definitely a blessing for sure.
Nah, that's so big. Like I didn't even like I don't know. I'm just sitting there going, holy shit, this guy's in the NFL. Like this is
Mm.
a crazy start. He's just like fucking, cause like I mean, I walked onto this guy's podcast and I'm just talking my shit for like an hour straight. I'm just kind of what I do.
It's good, man.
But then it's like, I'm
Crazy.
like, yo, this book I can learn about who this guy is. And I was like, holy shit, that's a big, but also like Trev was so interesting too. But like completely like this guy's saving people with cancer treatments and shit. I was
Yo,
just like,
dead
who the
ass
fuck
Trevor.
are y'all? Who are the King's
Yeah,
Court?
man.
This is a fucking
Yeah, we on
crazy.
some other shit.
I mean, I know the
Yeah.
Willie story. That one we got,
Mm.
and so I know Willie a bit better. But Cottreezy, you're fucking interesting. Plus, you know how to tell a story. I'm just
I
able to
appreciate
just
that,
like
King.
sit there for like 10 whole minutes at a shot, say
Yeah.
fucking nothing. This is fucking beautiful.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that more than you know, for real.
Nah, this is, man, I'm entertained and I'm like, I'm riveted. I'm just like, yo, you're so humble, but you were in the football,
I gotta be, man.
the
Gotta be. Fuck
NFL
everybody, man.
for real. That's serious. So you're playing with the Chargers, like doing real football stuff, living real football dream. I don't know,
Yeah,
broker
man.
versions. Because the way you put it, like there's tears to this shit, and you were not in the
There
most
is tears to
profitable.
this shit. Yeah, like if you just getting like 1 year contracts and making practice squad money, man, you might only have like 20K in your account or 10K in your account. Whereas these other motherfuckers playing 4 or 5 years, they get a minimum of, I think the minimum at that point was like 1.3 mil or something like that, or the minimum was 525, something like that. So your entire, you're not rolling like they roll it. You try to, like a dumbass, but you're not. You know what I mean? You're not. And some of the players were humble as hell too, man. Some of the guys I know, like RIP, rest in power, a guy named Vincent Jackson. He was with us also. And he just passed away, I think, a couple months ago. He just found him, but he was my homie, man. Like he was cool as hell. Like we was in San Diego, like he did. Like I'm talking about, like Taco Tuesdays was a vibe. Like Taco Tuesdays was people like it ain't about tacos at 5 o'clock. It's about going out. You know what I mean? I don't know what it was about tacos, but you just eat some tacos and then you go out and like Vincent Jackson would come through and be with you, and you're a small time player, so you don't really know, you know what I mean, what's going on, da 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 da. And you go there doing your thing, da, 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 and you don't even think that these guys are, because some of these guys are big dog. Some guys like, you ain't nothing, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? But some guys are like, they can make millions of dollars. Like, yo, I got you, don't trip. Like, you cool, you part of the team. Like, I don't care if you just came here for 1 year or came here, 20 years ago, whatever. So Vincent Jackson was one of those dudes. I remember us like break dancing together on the dance floor, like on Taco Tuesdays and shit. Like, you know what I mean? And then like even like the Damian Thompson, who was like a Hall of Fame player, him just, we literally just, back in the area, they had these huge facilities, and he was just in the cut, like, putting bandages on our fucking fingers or whatever. He's come up and just tell you, what's up, how you doing? Like just talking, like shooting the shit. And then remembering you years down the line because of that. Like Damon just see me right now, and he can remember me. And these guys are like Hall of Fame football players. So it's humbling because they have also been like, I've seen the greatest be humble. I've seen Phillip Rivers, like he doesn't cuss, and he like introduces himself. And this guy was making at that point, I think like 28 million like total over like 3 years as far as endorsement deals and everything. Like he's a humble dude. Like he has a family man, and you'll see guys like that, like, yo, you got all this money, you don't got actually nothing, you got a nice car, but you know you're a family man and you like so that's why I keep it humble, man. Like, you know what I mean? Real talk, because I wasn't even doing shit. Plus, like I was there, but I've seen other ones who have long-term careers. I seen Randy Moss, man. Randy Moss was a humble dude. Like, even though I didn't play at the Vikings, he would come back and do a charity event in Minnesota for cleft lip. And it was a bass fishing tournament. He would call me. Yo, he called me, bro. I ended up fucking fishing with Roy Jones Jr. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like, I put in the position to meet people like that. Like, it was, first of all, it was crazy to see how little he was. Cause I'm thinking, like, this dude was knocking fools out of me. He was so small. Like, he was just so little. I'm like, yo, but he'll knock you. Like, he was just amazing with it. And he was cool as hell. So humble. Like, he was humble as fuck, too. Like, I was nobody, yo, bro, can I get a picture? He was like, yeah, what's up, man? Oh, you play? Oh, let me get a picture of you, too. Fuck that. Like, Roy Jones asked me for a picture. I wasn't shit, bro. So that really got my head like, yo, man, humble yourself. People know what it is with me. I'm not a brag. I'm always gonna keep it. I don't care how much money we ever make out of this shit. Always gotta keep it humble. Always.
You know, that's big. That's big respect. But still,
Yeah,
you have a very interesting life. It doesn't change that. Um, okay, so you're in the Chargers and you're playing footballs, and then
yeah.
I don't know how long that lasts for, or what else is worth talking about from this
So
era.
like, yeah, I mean, just a little bit, just last thing. I ended up playing a couple other like leagues, like minor leagues after that. Like arena football for a year, and this UFL for a year. And that was it. Because once I got to the mindset, I got banged up one year. I made the whole season, but then the final next year I got hurt, tore my meniscus. And so I got to the mindset, like, I don't want to get hurt anymore, dog. Like,
Mm.
this shit's a grind. And once that sets in you, even a fucking millisecond of a percentage, you have to stop playing. Because when you're playing with that reckless abandonment, like, I could just run through a wall right now. You're successful, but you're playing like, yo, I'll get run here. I'm gonna get hurt. That hesitation will get you fucked up or get somebody else fucked up. So you can't play no more. So I was in at the time Rochester, New York, and I was just that was it. I played for the UFL. Actually, it was in Rochester, and at the time this is when I started really. I was already going to Toronto a lot when I was a youngin, just on some like tourist shit. But I remember my first real years was in college a little bit, like playing hoop it up and
Okay,
shit
can
in
I ask a
college.
little question? So, if you're a young person from
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo touristing in Toronto, what do you do?
Mm-hmm. Yo, we really don't. Like the Raptor games was cool, and then like we really just to keep it G, dog. We would just what we would do was cruise around because the city to us was beautiful. I love Toronto. There's a reason why I got to see it. I love Toronto, dog. It introduced me to a perspective life as far as like finance. Because at the time too, I'm talking like the first time I really enjoyed the skyline was 2001. Yo, trust and believe how like literally like there were no that many condos back then. So you know you seen a beautiful skyline. You seeing businesses way better in Buffalo. So I was like, yo, and then I remember how I thought it was clean too. This is like when I was like 16. I was like, I'm going to Jamaica every year and I'm going to Toronto. So I got family there and we meet, but we basically just cruising around the city. We really didn't stop at too many tourist attractions. We didn't do the seeing and all that shit. Went to the Raptor game, got something to eat, and then we just like go to the mall, like going to eat and just moving around. And then getting up on Dundas, walking down Dundas. Yo, my first time with the Bloor Street and really saw some real rich shit. That's when I was like, okay, yo, this is a different type of perspective of life, man. And then being not looked at so aggressively for being black. Where I'm from, like you can walk around being black. They got idea, what kind of black guy are you? Are you a thug? Or are you this? Or you that? Where I'm in Toronto is like, what you mean? Anybody really care what color you are? You know what I mean? You walking by like whatever. So we felt that, So when I fast forward to now I'm going from Rochester. I start going to Toronto now heavy again. And I remember going to Carabana a few years back before then, but I remember 2008 Carabana was when I really fell in love with Toronto.
What is
That was
Caravana?
the so Caravana is the Caribbean festival that's always happens in Toronto, and it happens in the first week in August. It's a long tradition. I mean, you're talking like Carnival.
Okay.
I mean, it goes from like Thursday to Monday, like that civic holiday in Ontario. So we would cross all the time for Carabana. And Carabana was big, and even states like people from Atlanta would go to Toronto. Like Shaquille, like these athletes and stars, some of these people would pop up to go to Carabana was big. So it gave life to Toronto. Like that's what it was. To me, it was the sexiest festival. You had hip hop artists like, you know what I mean? Rick Ross would do a fucking party during Carabana. You know what I mean? Like this is how big it was. And so I'd been there, like when we played Hoop It Up in the basketball tournament. I'd been to this thing. That's when I remember. Like that was like 2000, I think, 3, when I met this girl named Tatiana, and she was grabbing my ears, and she was mixed with all types of shit. And I'm like, that was the first Toronto girl I ever met, and I was like, this is the best place ever, right? So 2009, I'm sorry, 2008 into 9. I'm sorry, it was 2009 actually. We go to Carabana. It was me and my half brother. We meet my homies up there at the time, because this is like, I'm known in Toronto. I've been going up there a lot. I got the street fam up there. We in there Carabana from like Thursday to Monday. And I remember just having the time of my life, man. I remember for whatever reason, that vibe that weekend was like literally perfect. Like, I don't know if you ever had a time where every party and every cookout or outdoor party or every spot that you hit landed. It wasn't no bunk shit. It wasn't no like horrible party. Everything from the backyard parties with the gazebo and the open bar and grill and the people and the DJ and a buffet, and it was just like you knew people in there, so it was legit. To like the parties in Mansion, where it was like a Hennessy party, but it was like Hennessy sponsored it, and it was like $45 a ticket, so it was a classy event, but it was like still good people in there, and it was just enough that like perfect room for you if you was in there like with your people, you had plenty of space, but still packed enough that it was still live in there. So it was like a perfect like setting. Like I came like then you go to the bar and get your drink immediately because there's nobody at the bar really like that. But everybody's just in a vibe. It was like a whole huge house party instead of a club night. Like it was, and there was enough people in there to be like whatever. All these things that night hit. I remember just being like, this is the greatest fucking city ever. And me and my boys had already been coming up to Toronto every weekend
Crazy,
before and doing it. But like that year is when I was like, this is the best shit. Even at the parade, dog, we was in the parade. We were talking about we behind the gigs. We in the float. And I had pictures on MySpace of like 5, 6 them jumping, like going crazy, whining. Like it was like, we had never even experienced like not aggressive females, but females where I'm from wouldn't even really approach us like that. So we fell in love with Toronto immediately. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we didn't even know. Like, of course we American black dudes with the accent, and they come right up to us and like we would be so raw, like, look, honey, I'm out here working hard, you know what I mean? Buff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in my small apartment. I got my car. They wouldn't even care. Like, yo, you got a job? Bet, boom. Like, let's talk. Like, so we respected that shit a lot. Where even where we were from, these motherfuckers was turning their nose on us. I'm like, who the fuck? I'm going to Toronto and getting these beautiful, diverse females and being with these people. And your ass is fucking dugging me in Buffalo, New York. Fuck out of here. Cross that bridge. I'm out of there in an hour and a half. So I'm hitting the highway of 2009, and I'm literally going there every weekend.
It's crazy that you say it like that because me and my girlfriend went to Toronto. This was like 2019, and we tried to find a place to club hop or whatever. I couldn't figure this shit out for the life of me. We tried to bar hop and everything's so fucking far apart, and like you need a car to do this right, and it was the weirdest shit ever. And so you're like, man, it was like the latest night of great parties, and I'm like, I don't know how that happened. I gotta figure that shit out because, man, I had like we have to really research this properly next time experience.
Well, like, I had a friend named, my best friend, right now to this day, his name's Steve. Call him Steve Love. And Steve, he'd been there. He'd been doing Toronto, again, probably since like 99. I met him in Toronto. He's from Buffalo. He's literally family with my family. He's my cousin, basically. And I met him at Hoop It Up. And we kind of like, we the Buffalo crew, right? he ended up being my best friend, and he's been up. He was like a Toronto connoisseur, so he knew where to go, like Lobby Nightclub, the Empire, and like Empire had the free parking, so we can save money if we go to Empire, and like you know what I'm saying. He knew how to kind of maneuver through, and for whatever reason, too, we were from Buffalo. We were well dressed black men, and we came with class, and we knew how to talk. So most of the time, there'd be like a fucking line out there. We'd ask, we ask for the manager, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we from out of town. Show us a little love, boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, we walking in that bitch. We got a couple free drinks. We having a good time. And that happened like almost every weekend. We just ended up, knowing some promoters too at the time. Promoters at the time were big. So you get those promoters that would get us in these party spots, and man, we were just having a great time in Toronto. But then also just linking up. I remember just being right next to Carnella Fisher, literally at a redemption party. He was just there, like getting the drink. I'm like, yo. And I looked at him. I had to give him his flowers, right? I'm like, yo, I'm from Buffalo, bro. I'm gonna tell you what happened. You dropped your shit. This is ill. He was cool as fuck, humble as shit, man. Yo, I can't believe it. Thank you, yo, Buffalo crazy, y'all wildin'. Like it was just a whole little 2-minute convo. And, to keep it G with no pictures and be like, man, hopefully I'll see you soon and then walk away. It was cool. You know what I mean? And to be able to interact with those people like that in Toronto like that, it was crazy because Buffalo was tense. Buffalo was so tense. You couldn't go out like that. And it was also racist. Like, it was very racist. So to feel that diversity, feel that classness and like the classiness of everything and in the streets and being able to at the time, like, shit, smoke on the street, cop walk by, you don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? We out there like cops see us smoking, they throwing us in the car, we might get shot. Like, so I'm falling in love with the city and falling in love with the people, but able to maneuver the right way. Like I said, it is spread apart. You're right. There's like Richmond Ave and like a couple of areas that are okay, but like there's nothing where you can there's not a strip where it's like there's 10 bars in this one area.
Yeah,
it ain't like that in
Toronto.
Toronto.
So that everyone knows. I'm coming from Montreal, where I came to see We're
Spoiled. Oh yeah,
spoiled.
Exactly. You can talk about that too. Fucking everything right there, like just right there. It's little lights over the fucking, So, we'll get to that, but yeah, I mean, that was Toronto, man. That was loving it. Of course, I was back and forth from Toronto, Buffalo, Rochester. It was like I called it the triangle, more like the L. I said, not the triangle. Yeah, it was the L. Rochester, Buffalo, triangle. Now, then I left Rochester around 2009 after I played like one more in the UFL. I played real quick, and then I said that's enough. Left Rochester as I was still going to Toronto. Now I'm in Buffalo, so I'm happy to be back in Buffalo because I'm actually so happy that I'm closer to Toronto. So instead of being a 3-hour joint, now it's like an 1.5-hour joint. So at the time, I was going back and forth to Burlington. I was dating a person at the time, a female in Burlington, and like she was from Collingwood and from Toronto. So I was getting like a lot of vibes and then learning some shit too, right? But I was also still my boys, like downtown. Like it was crazy. Like we were still hanging out, not like we used to, but we would still do different vibes and catch different things. Like I remember going to the Hot Box Cafe for the first time. You know what I'm saying?
There. I was there when you could just burn
that's what I'm saying.
In the back.
You just burn the back.
You could rent the vape for like fucking $5 or whatever, and then
you
like
can rent a bomb for $5 too.
Bro,
you just have to just bring your own shit.
Bro, that was.
It was a vibe back there, bro. Like summertime, it was a fucking vibe. People don't get that. Like before, you could smoke anywhere in the city freely. Hot Box Cafe was that vibe. You pay that $5.
Beautiful.
You walk in the back and you could smoke whatever you want. Everybody was back there just puffing, and it was just like somebody might play some music and shit. Da da da. I remember I went back. I had the vibe right. I went back there with like my weed. I had my blunts and joints, and I had like it was hot as hell. So I had like got some fresh ices in a cooler and shit, bro. I was back there with smoking with some like some ices and shit, like having a vibe, just having it by myself, chilling. You know what I mean? And that whole Kensington area too. Going to Rasta Pasta, going to Untitled Kitchen, going to places that are good for me and for everybody. Going down there, getting some fruit at the market, you know what I mean? Like everything's a vibe in Toronto, man. And so, getting that and then coming back to Buffalo, I was getting the mixture of it. Then I started legitly recording in 2000, like around 11 or 12. I started really recording.
Okay.
I met with these dudes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you're in Buffalo at this time in 2012. You're popping into Toronto a lot. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
that's crazy because the Hotbox Cafe does not let you smoke inside or vape inside
No,
anymore, which is bad.
not anymore.
It's
Really,
not.
that's
It's
crazy.
not lit. I went there. We went on that trip because I was like, "Yo, Bonnie, you gotta check this place. It's so fucking
And then
cool."
it wasn't lit.
You can still smoke in the back, but like now it's not lit because you can smoke everywhere in
Well, you can
Toronto.
smoke in the back, and yeah, you can smoke in the
And then
back
I
anywhere.
found out there
Fucking
are
nigga, I can smoke
like
in the back and the front.
now apparently there's like cool cigar lounge like places, but I only found out that they existed at the very tail end of our trip there. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh well,
I don't even. But do they allow you to smoke weed in those places?
they're not like above; they're more like underground. So they,
Underground. Okay, that's the thing. Well, I know, like Mr. Idiot over there, at the province. He was Mr. Ford Fuck. He was saying that before the pandemic, the next thing was up was cannabis lounges because they were like, "Yo, we need us." I don't understand. Excuse me, how you can not have a place where people can freely smoke cannabis safely. Because to me, it's like if you don't want me gassing up on a corner somewhere, give me the spot. Like you know what I mean? I go,
yo,
especially where you at
yo,
Montreal.
check
'Cause I
where
was
we
there,
at,
dog.
dog. That's
Yo,
the
yo,
dirtiest shit, eh? Yo, so
yo.
it's
Oh
mad.
my
Yo, it's
God,
so check it.
bro.
So just the Montreal break or the Quebec is the landlord association of whatever Quebec
Yeah,
pressured the government to make sure that they could pass a little thingy in the leases that if your existing lease was still in place 3 months after legalization, a bailiff could show up and amend your lease without consent to prohibit the smoking of cannabis products with anything on the building premises, including your balcony.
wow,
So,
wow,
man shows up for me Christmas Eve, 8 o'clock p.m. Me and my dad's are smoking pots in the living room. Man shows up with the
wow.
bailiff, 24 fucking 30 days, whatever. But you got to think about that law. Now they can evict you
Yep,
just like that for smoking herbs, but it's also illegal to smoke in public because.
that's what I was saying.
But now
Yeah,
it's like worse than before.
yeah. I
Though to
remember
be
being
fair,
in.
let's just give credit. Nobody I know has ever gotten in trouble smoking a joint in Montreal since, personally.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, when I was out there, we'll get to that. But I remember being out there, being in the fucking gym in goddamn Cote St. Luke and seeing and hearing the radio station announce that law. And it was like utterly ridiculous. I remember being like,
Oh,
okay,
they're
so I'm on the
hardcore,
fucking
actually.
grass, I'm smoking, I'm good. But if I put my foot on the sidewalk, I'm not. Right? Like,
Yo, I don't even fuck with Code St. Luke, though. They have like, oh no,
oh
yo,
boy, it
Hampstead
was
has,
bad, bro.
I think it's Hampstead has no vaping laws even. Like, so well, you have the vape, and then you
Jeez.
gotta put it in your pocket for like 3 blocks, and then you can take it out and have a. Yes, for real, reals.
Nah, we'll get to Coach St. Luke in a minute because, like, yeah, Coach St. Luke was a fucking serious situation, bro. It was serious in the loop. That is,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
crazy for me to
serious.
hear that because I grew up there. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, we'll get to it.
fair enough. So we in 2012. You're
Yeah,
What makes you decide to start recording music?
yo, that ass like it was more like I just really had it in me to do. I really had it in me to do. It was like I want to put something out. I started seeing the plane of how things were. I knew I didn't want to be like at this point, you don't got to be like, some mainstream rapper to make a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money already in 2012. So you see people in the underground doing a lot of money in shows. And so I knew that I had a sound. I knew I had a voice. I knew I had a progression, but I didn't know what to really write about. So 2012, late year, I'm starting to write. 2013, January 2013, I meet this guy named fucking Big Kahuna OG, aka his name Lucas. And we worked at Earthlink together, which was a tech spot. At the time, I'm doing tech, like I'm doing just simple IT, like basic, like password unlocking and interfaces, things like that, like simple shit. So he meets me. He's like, "Yo, you rap?" I'm like, yeah. He has a studio. He has a little mobile studio. Boom. We ended up I had so much to say, and I had a job where it was incoming calls, right? So when the job get low, put on the instrumental. They didn't have no blocking on the goddamn computer. So I'm in there pretty much getting paid to write rhymes. Even though I wasn't smoking, I was still able to put some shit together, right? So me and him put together this tape that's on SoundCloud right now called, it's part of the Yaper Gang called YPGM. We were Yaper Gang North because he was a Buffalo kid, but he had moved down to Richmond, Virginia for like 12 years and then came back to Buffalo. He was just in Buffalo with his mom, just working for a while. I don't know why he was back. He was back. And he met me and it was cool because he was actually from Buffalo, but he was like, you know, he's back now. So we put down, he was part of Yaper Gang. Yaper Gang was part of Richmond, Virginia. We put together, me and him, Yaper Gang North. YPGN, I don't give a fuck. Look it up. YPGN, SoundCloud right now. It's a classic. It really is. That's the young Cottreezy. Before Rasta, powerful Cottreezy, street Cottreezy. Talking about Hennessy and all types of shit. And and so we put that together, right? And so 2013 and 14, I'm still getting this Toronto vibe. So we do a song called Better Samples. That's on YouTube right now. Me and Big Kahuna OG. And that's actually one of the scenes is about a docks in Toronto. People know where the docks is, about the area right by the CN, right there by the docks. And the other scene is in Burlington, Ontario, right by the water, because on this side of the lake, it's much cleaner. You motherfuckers do a good job up here. Buffalo, it was shit. You don't see that much. And at that point, seriously, at that time, it would have been black. This shit looked like the beach where we at, right? Like, it's crazy.
I didn't even, hold up. You're saying that literally just because it's like the same like body of water, one of the Great Lakes, I think, right? You saying
Yep.
That shit is black on your side of the
on our side, at that point, it was like brownish, yeah.
Is it
was
better
like
now?
Brownish. It's much better now. They put like $33 million into it. And like it was so much shit in there that an island was erected. So that's how much shit was in there. You know what I mean? It was bodies, it was tars, it was the Bethlehem Steel dumped all their toxic waste and fucking tools in there. It was crazy. People were fucking dumping everything in there. It was nuts. So
and somehow the same body of water on Canada's side, it wasn't like
well, because the current of the falls kind of like flushes shit out.
So you guys were on the receiving end of the shit, and we were on the clean end of it. So it's more like
dog,
a bit of
like
luck.
Like going to the beach when I would go to the beach still in Buffalo, a spot called Mickey Red. Sorry, probably rest in peace, Mickey Red. That was South Buffalo, way out in a spot called Angola. And dog, we was drunk, but let's get real. The water was nasty. Like, was it fucking like out there? You get out the water, get that like pond water smell and shit. Like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then when we would go to like Crystal Beach, even just Crystal Beach, and that was just on the other side of that lake. And dog, the water was so much fucking better. Yo, we crossed the border, go to Crystal Beach, water's clear, see right through, no smell, everything vibe. Like we would cross the border and like do that shit like it was nothing. Like it was nothing. Like it was perfect, right? So the water out there is like, you know, it's different type of vibe. So that video, we did it like that. You know what I mean? YBG, we did that shit. And so and I'm still like they family, you know what I mean? So I'm going to Richmond, Virginia, and I'm doing a grind. Like I put the Greyhound bus. First show was in a spot called, I think it was called Epic Fest in Richmond, Virginia. And my man Chapo and Big Kahuna, Deuce, Mars, you know what I mean? Those guys, the whole crew, everybody down there did the whole show, got on, you know what I mean, did a little something, had a little fun, did another show in Queens. And then, you know, went up and now it's like, it's time for me to do my thing. So Buffalo was kind of different for recording. And I was in Toronto so much, or in that area, you know, so much that I ended up meeting these people called XD, which was a studio out in like the Mississauga area. And I ended up recording a couple of songs that I actually didn't even put on this first album because they were just kind of like warm-up songs. I remember I recorded like 3 songs that I didn't even like. I still have them in the cut. I might release them on some like late shit, but I did like a bunch of them. Like and they're all about my Buffalo days. You know what I mean? They're all about my young days doing wild shit. So the only song that made the Selassie Soldier album was Around Me, and I did that song like 2015, like shit like that, right? So it took me a while to record. Like I was recording, but life was tough. Like I'm recording, I'm working. I don't know where to release. I don't know where I'm at. I'm in Buffalo and like I'm back and forth. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm dating this girl, so it's occupying all my fucking time too. Like I'm not really not knowing the direction. So I ain't gonna front, like came a blur a little bit, right? Like I'll record 2 songs a year, some whack shit. I knew it was there, but I just didn't know what. So at the time, I'm getting into the Rastafari faith. Now, mind you, before when I grew up, my dad did take me to Jamaica every year from the age of 2 to the age of 17 during the summer for like 2 weeks. So it was always in me. So 2015, I go back to the yacht, right? And when I go back, I see my cousins, I see everybody, I feel it. I go back for a while. And it just felt like that resurgence of my reggae, the resurgence of the dancehall, the resurgence of my sound. And then all of a sudden my conscious level just turned up, like turned the fuck up. Like I was kind of getting lost in even my faith. That was it. I was in the Christian faith. Jesus Christ, same yesterday, today, and forever. But I was also like, but
that's great.
I was also like, in a level of like getting away from that. I wasn't going to fucking church. You know what I'm saying? So I go to Jamaica. I'm getting into Rasta I call it Rasta too, because I'm just getting the basic faith. I'm smoking good weed, obviously. We're talking about that good herb I'm getting from Toronto. Let's get it popping. Let's talk about how Canada was really putting it on. Because I've been in Cali. And Canada got it. Let's keep it real. Like I don't even know what people keep talking about. Canada had it. I had the first mango push in Toronto.
I'm just saying, I hear you, but like back in the day, and I don't know when it was, somewhere between 2015 and 2017.
Yes.
Quebec was it. And then all of a sudden,
I heard of,
the great
I heard about
raids
Quebec
happened.
with it.
So that's what
Quebec
happened.
had it.
Then they did the great raids where they used the helicopters and they found the farms and then legalization happened. Now the thing about legalization is now everybody's trying to sell weed to the government, because why the fuck wouldn't you? So now your weed is to cap at 30%. That's it. It can't go more than 30%.
30%. Can't got to go 30%.
So that means back in the day, motherfuckers was out competing to grow super weed like a motherfucker, like it's California today. But then the government interfered and literally fucked up the mainstream weed game.
Fucked it up. Let me tell you something, man. They fucked it up on a level that you could never understand. Okay, because now 2015, I'm also getting involved in the cannabis game. 2016, 2017, I'm getting involved. I'm not just buying this shit. We out here. You know what I'm saying? I got homies out here, don't get into too much, but like we getting involved with it. You know what I mean? I'm smoking great, and at the time I go to Jamaica too. So I knew some growers out there. 2016. I go to Jamaica twice. I go 2015, I go 2017. 2017 is when Cottreezy really came out to the fore. Like that was when we got to change up this whole shit. We got to get, we got to not eat meat. We got to do all that, right? But when it came to the cannabis shit, like I was on it, and I remember crossing the border, and the border agent saying, even in 2016, they're like, because I'll bring the backwoods up. They're like, you smoke weed? And I'll be like, yeah, I didn't smoke today, and I don't have any on me. Like, you don't got to lie, right? They're like, yeah, don't bring some up because it's going to be legal soon anyway. It's like, and they kept saying it for year after year, and sure enough, Trudeau was like, So as I'm coming up, you know what I'm saying, and really getting involved, I end up going and being able to get in the papers in 2018, and then I'm moving to Napanee, Ontario, out of everywhere, because I had to work out there, do drywall. That is in the middle. That is outside of Kingston, Ontario, not too far, but it's by the reservation called Tydenega, or the territory called Tydenega. I'm sorry. And Tydenega has, at this point, I think at that point, they had 56 dispensaries. So as I'm getting my sound, as I'm coming to the Rastafari faith, I just moved from like downtown Buffalo, right? And it was funny too, because my last time in Buffalo, I was in the heart of Buffalo. I got to spend my last years in the heart of downtown, dog. I was Main Street. Like when they do flies over, I can see what my room is. So I was downtown. I was able to walk to work for a good year and a half while going back and forth to Montreal and Napanee at this time, right? Because I was going to Montreal. I was doing a whole circle. I was dating someone in Montreal, and I was going to Napanee, and I was coming down to Buffalo to work. Like I was on a fucking highway, bro. So I go through Toronto. You know what I'm saying? It was like a whole circle up to 90, up Watertown, hit Montreal, go fucking west, go through Napanee, go to Toronto, come down, go to Buffalo. And I was just doing this grind because I knew where my goal was to get here in Canada. So finally I got to Napanee. Bam, got to Napanee. I'm doing drywall there. And everything's working out good. And I'm doing my research on the reservation. I'm sorry, on the territory. I keep fucking saying that shit, my bad. On the territory. And literally meeting people in the cannabis industry, going through, but also doing my music at the same time. Now my music's getting the vibe. I'm doing recording through this. Now I'm recording more. Now I'm in Buffalo. This is when I met Sky in 2018. And the recording with Sky and doing a couple of the fucking.
How do you meet Sky?
So Sky was through my ex. Like basically, he knew my ex girl, and they like knew each other from a long time. And she was like, "Yo, this dude's ill. Record with him." So me and Sky linked up. It was perfect. It was like, bam, that was that. And we recorded pretty much half the album, Selassie Soldier, at Sky's studio. And he actually came. He was one of the first ones. Him and Polly were the first ones that came out to one of my shows out there that I did at the Bistro, Saint Jacques. One day. Yeah, so he was one of the ones.
Bistro Saint Jacques.
Listen, yo, I performed at the Bistro Saint Jacques, and we had a like a vegan company there, like catered that shit. It was vibe, man. It was cool.
I got the invite to that event and said, nah. I promise.
I guarantee you did. It was because we send a lot of people that invite, right? And
I'd been there before.
It was it was tight though. Like it was like I don't know how I pulled it off because I basically performed on a stair. You know what I'm saying? But I pulled it the fuck off. I got it right. You know what I mean? And it was popping. It actually was a good show. And like man, Sky was there, Polly was there. He'll tell you, it was live, right? So I'm recording then. And then I got a good catalog, right? Like I'm working through. And as I'm in Napanee, I do one of my first shows is in the Indigenous Cannabis Cup. That's in Canada. That's my first show in Canada. First show was down in Buffalo.
How do y'all get invited to this shit? All right, because you knew the weed. Never mind.
Yeah, but I was like I knew a couple of them, but I was also networking with these people for like 6 months. Like I was putting a little bit of singles out, had some music out. You know what I mean? Yeah, a little something because it wasn't like it was a big like. This situation was like we didn't get paid for this. It wasn't like a booking like that. Like yo, just come through, do this free weed perform. Great, cool. Like this stage is crazy. It's a $30,000 stage amongst 50 vendors. Yeah, I'm performing. You know what I mean? I knew where I was at. I'm like, because at the time, markets, this is before legalization, markets were happening every other day. And there was like, either DJs or performers. So there was plenty of artists that were working that market circuit where like, they were like pretty much performing week to week at these cannabis markets. Right. And so I was getting in there too. So one of my first shows was at the ICC. So basically I'm sitting there and I do my show with the ICC. I get it popping like there. And then I do, more shows. I'm sorry, the Bistro St. Jacques show. And that's when about 6 months into it, we do the Bout It video. And Sky is actually, if you look, it's funny you say like Sky, go check out the Bout It video. Sky is in that video. Sky is like all up in that video.
I didn't check
the Bout
it
It
yet.
video.
I honestly
if you check that out, yeah.
Nah, yeah, I mean, I know Sky because I used to roll with this dude that was like close friends with Sky. Like we're saying, he helped build the booth. So I remember.
Yeah.
I remember watching pictures of the booth get built. One of my tracks, Is This Hip Hop is the name of it, is recorded at Sky Beats, mixed mastered by him. I got the Sky experience too.
Yeah.
I've known him for years. I've gone to his crib at least 8 or 9 times, maybe 7 times,
Wow.
for
It's
different
a small
reasons.
world, man. That's
Took a
crazy.
picture there one time, but it's because of my next foot guy who knew him really well. And then over
Mm.
the years, I swear, Sky Beats' name in the Montreal side has come up about 15 to 20 times on different interviews.
Montreal. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
He bangs. He bangs, man. He
cause
bangs.
he's
He's well known, and he works. He works really well.
plus
Like
his own
he's
music,
ill.
which he's so fucking low key about, is really good.
Yeah. It's actually really good. It's actually really good. About 5 a.m. I'm talking about 5 days.
But yeah,
Like, and he really is low key about it. So,
nah, I like him a lot.
or
He's
one
one
of
of my.
them. Oh yeah, no, cool. It was just like Mount Royal. We did it, man. We just did it right there early, like at 9 o'clock on Mount Royal. And it was just like we just shot it like real bold with it too. My boy Clyde, shout out to CXJ photography, like he was there and we just made it happen, right? Like just made sure that nobody was around but kick us out real quick, man. You know, and people were watching, people actually observed it. It was like they were really cool with it, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people there, but we just kind of ducked in the back and um we ended up doing that scene, then we did another scene like in the next day or whatever. But it was a quick little video about it because I thought I was going to drop, you know, within the next, you know, couple months after that. You know what I'm saying? Like I had ICC coming up pretty soon, the second year, Endeavours Cannabis Cup coming up soon. So I wanted to get the videos done. So I finally got about a video out there and dropped that joint. And then in the second year, I actually did another show with a group called Space Camp out of Philly, and they ended up doing a show in Kingston, Ontario, at the spot called 710 Kingston Smoke Shop, which is now a dispensary, but and now they were just a glass like a head shop. And they did an event called Blunts and Barbecue. So I ended up performing there, and that was actually ill because they actually like that was legitimately my first real solid like paid compensated fully gig. And I didn't even have an album out yet. It was just off the rip. Like I had a song, I had some music. He's like, yo, you're crazy, dude. And I was already going to perform again at the Indigenous Cannabis Cup. So he kind of saw that, you know what I mean, linked off there. And then I said, all right, boom. So second year, I performed in front of the Indigenous Cannabis Cup. This time I'm in Montreal now. This time I'm living in Montreal. And this is when I'm living in fucking Cold St. Luke. So, you know, just really gritting it and grinding it, still doing. This is when I was working with Sky, actually. You know what I mean? Really doing about 3 tracks every other month with Sky, really knocking some real shit out. So I'm ready to drop.
I gotta
And
ask you a
coming up,
question though. That's
go
not
ahead.
what the chat wants me to ask. They can wait. Where in Cote St. Luke are you at?
Oh man. All right. So it was on Trinity Ave.
Alright, that's
Trinity
dope.
Ave.
Nah, I grew
Yeah,
up
right
Cote
there
St.
on
Luke, man.
Trinity.
That's like my fucking shit. It's like if you were in Cote St. Luke, I probably cycled by you singing at some point.
Though dog ass, I was there. I would go to the IGA supermarket all the time, right there. And then even before, like when I would come visit, my ex, she was living off Cavendish, so right around that area too. But like Cote St. Luke, I was off Trinity Ave, and then legitly, yeah, we didn't move anywhere else that day. I was on Trinity Ave, and so I would like walk around everywhere. I walked to the gym up the street, like what else? I'm just trying to get try to get this memory out of my head, right? But now I'm bringing it back. So yeah, it was Trinity Ave, dog. Like not a lot of moving around in Montreal at that time. I was actually working in Ganawaki. I was working at Playground Poker.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I was working out there doing some trading and doing some side stuff, right? So um again doing the music thing, but it was getting tough. And then next thing you know, I'm ready to really finally drop, and then boom, COVID hits, stupid ass pandemic hits. And that put a little bit of a kibosh because I had to get personally, you know, priorities. Like I was like, I couldn't even drop because I did barely even had like shit was moving slow. So you know, things happened. I ended up having to go back to Toronto And this is like this last summer, and this is when I actually started writing even more. You know, really getting heavy. Like I was getting into my faith before too, the Rastafari. I was like, you know, my locks was growing. I was getting locked in. I was getting my sound right. But about, I'd say in the last 2 years is when the shit really clicked in that form. And I don't know if it was because when the life I went through, and I can't really speak on what I because it was crazy. But it was a life, man. It was a tough situation, and a lot of writing got done, a lot of consciousness got done, a lot of reading and leveling up of the whole mind and aligning your paradigm somewhat into a fucking better area in your fucking head. It had to happen for me. So when I got to Toronto, dog, I was like downtown by myself, just doing it, like, you know, and really getting right in the head. And next thing you know what I'm saying, I moved out to London, Ontario, and I met this guy named Jelly, who really put the battery in the pack. Like Jelly is a producer, website dude, whatever you want, you know what I'm saying? And but he also is a great engineer. And all I need is somebody like, that's why me and Sky work together, because Sky just gets it done, bam, he's ill. And all I needed is somebody, you know, no matter what town I'm in, all I need is somebody to kind of do that. But Jelly steps up, like he does everything. Like the website that I have, he did that.
That's a good website.
The video, yeah, appreciate that. Like he's a one-stop shop. I gotta give a shout, because without him, I don't even, because he pushed me to drop it. Like I recorded more. He's like, we need to drop this now. I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm like, nah, fuck that. He's like, and I kind of felt the universe at time, because even the time when I was dropping it, you know, outside, you know, life was getting tough still. You know what I mean? Out here, but we were grinding through. You know, the whole team was grinding through. So,
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have to ask a question that if I don't ask, the people in the chat will be mad at me.
Oh shit.
How did you meet Willie Scandals?
Indigenous Cannabis Cup. I met him the first year he was the MC. You know what I'm saying? And he was like there. We was cool smoking, and we were just MCing. And then the second year, of course, he was there. We kept in touch, right? And I remember seeing him even downtown Montreal. I forgot what show I saw him at. It was for, I forgot what show I saw him, but I caught up to him, I saw him. And then again, the second year Indigenous Cannabis Cup, he was MCing again. So I was there, and he was the one that got me. Like, I don't know about this story, but I was telling the story at King's Court. He was the one that, like, these other performers didn't show up. I wasn't supposed to perform until the next day. But he was like, yo, you want to perform? I'm like, nah. At this point, I just hit probably 6 dabs, then like something crazy, then smoked my ass off. I'm like, yo, and I'm not even drinking the proper fluids to perform this 30-minute set. I'm like, but I ain't gonna be no pussy. So I said, yeah. So I run over. I run over to the what do I forgot? I think I had the Gatorade on me, but I had somebody else who had some more Gatorade and drinks and some water. So I just quench my thirst for a good 10 minutes. I just sit there, because I was about to pass out. I'm about to pass out on this stage. I got to do vocals and shit. I'm sitting here singing Pride. I'm going a different octave and bringing it. I'm like, But man, to keep it G, when I came out there, I fucking killed the show. I killed that shit. I remember one of the artists said that when you hit the mic, the whole place just stopped and it looked like, holy shit. Like, it was like, because I have a powerful voice, I came out with a song called Pride, which is on the Slices song too. And in Pride, my song is low, like banging lines and we don't give a damn. But at the ICC, I brought it up. Like banging lines and we don't give a damn. And I said it powerfully like that when I came out, so the whole spot shook. So it was cool. And I remember Will was there. Will was like the one, he was actually running that shit. And he was like, yo, you killing that motherfucking shit. And then obviously when I went to Montreal, working in Ganawaki, Willie was out there all the time. So I was pretty close to him, you know what I mean, at the time. So I knew that Willie's a solid dude on a fun man.
So Willie says he made you freestyle?
Yeah, he did.
Fair enough.
He did make me freestyle. He made me freestyle the first year, I think he did. And then Willie got on. I remember Willie just went crazy. Like he took a big swig of water, and then had this look on his face like the Mohawk warrior came out. He snatched the mic and he just started going in. And you know how Willie does. It's hard for him not to fucking start battling everybody he sees and shit.
I do know,
So
but
he was going hard.
can we give Willie his credit?
Willie's a fucking animal.
When he comes to the crossroad, he keeps it inside.
He keeps it inside, but I can see it in his eyes. He know what I'm talking about. He'd be like, I'm like, yo, I see you about to just start chopping shit down.
But he does
it. In him to go.
He wants to.
He does it.
But big ups Willie for time and placing that shit.
Willie is a killer. But Willie is the reason why, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm in the ICC. He's been legit, man, 100% the whole time. He was, you know, even there, unfortunately, I couldn't go last year, but he was there last year too. ICC.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, he's a King's Court. You know what it is, gang.
Which is a great question to also ask. So, I mean, okay, let's go back to you, finish it up, and then yes, Ismail, I saw what you asked. We'll get to that. But so you meet producer dude, y'all like elevate the game. You get the fancy website with the changing colors and the grandiose poses that looks like a chick magnet situation. I see what you're doing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I could see it. It is what it is.
Appreciate that. I mean,
so you elevated all, and then what happens next for you?
So then the Shalachi Soldier album drops, man. It was cool. It was emotional when the album dropped because it was a 17-track joint. People were like, yo, how the fuck, 17 tracks, what the fuck? And that was basically because that was from 2015, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's one. Number two, I wanted to be like, yo, why doesn't anyone drop albums anymore? There's few artists that still do, but people doing the little singles and the LPs. Let's just get some, let's come out there and fucking let's drop it. You know what I mean?
I got to answer that question though. I do have an answer. It's because they do drop full albums, and then nobody makes media about it, and it's hard to get attention.
That's true.
And then they don't put their lyrics on Genius. And if you're not on Genius, media don't know you exist, my guy. Or there's a few other sites too, but like, how is anyone supposed to know your album dropped? Like, to pick it up, to do the and nobody puts I'm guilty of a few songs not being there, but nobody puts their lyrics on Genius. So then every week I'm peeping Genius. Yo, it's dropping. If it's not there, I mean, I'm obviously like the underground people ain't gonna be showing up in Genius, but like, there's not really like a great way for people to know, as an example, that people are dropping full-length projects like all the time. And then maybe they do the 7 to 10 track thing sometimes too, but like, they just exist and nobody knows they exist. More is what's happening.
Nobody knows, right?
So I'm like, I don't know, your album's good. 17 tracks of great freshness.
I appreciate that, man.
Ismail makes a great case for Bandcamp here. You can get on their fucking auto mailing list feature when you follow artists. And to be fair, I do know every time Shades Laurence, who I followed one time on Bandcamp, every time she drops, I know. So like, I guess there are ways, but as a person like myself who knows the media side of it, it's actually really fucking hard to know Cottreezy drops an album unless I happen to stumble upon him, and then which happened in my case because of Willie. And then like I hear your music and it's like fucking dope and all that good stuff, but like, that's what's more the issue. So like, yo, everybody, like, Willie dropped a 16 track album in 2015. Like, many people have put out like full length albums since then, but who would know? Like that's the thing, like, who would know? So it's like,
and that's the thing.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully to anybody with their marketing or anybody trying to make things happen. It's just, I spent like 9 years trying to figure out the hows and the whats of this. And I'm not saying I've succeeded, but I do think I've seen a couple of the issues as they are. It's not the lack of quality or quantity. It's not even interest. Because, explain Griselda. They put out so much shit. It doesn't make sense if there's like no market for it.
It was, to me, watching Griselda also gave me motivation. To me, they started the game. This is what I'm grinding hard to do even now. But I remember like following Westside Gun, probably like in 2012 or 13, when he had like maybe 7,000, 8,000 followers. But here's the thing: they were so militant and they were so on it that he would just go ahead and release a hoodie, say a 500 hoodies, and they would sell out in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Or things like that, or art pieces, or things. He was teaching the game of how building that militant core fan base from the ground up instead of just trying to, just getting that thing and staying consistent with your sound and never letting go. Like,
Oh my gosh,
I remember,
they are the
yeah,
definition of consistency with their sound.
yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud to be from Buffalo, to even be saying, yeah, that's my people from my city, because they even exemplify what Buffalo is about. That when you hear that Griselda song, when you hear that sampling, when you hear that, it's almost like that Midwest, that steel, we call it steel town, man. That, you got Buffalo, Cleveland, you know what I mean? You go down with it, and it's just like Pittsburgh a little bit. And it's just like we have that retro 70s, 80s type, kind of like beautiful yet hard as fuck. And then when you even see like Kanye, you see West Side, you see, Benny, it's like they literally are from areas that I know. And it's just to me, they exemplify Buffalo, that hardcore yet beautiful sound that is just so consistent with every bar, but it's hard no matter how you're gonna play it. There's no way around it. And that's the Buffalo, man. That's how we stand for. We don't really care where anybody else is from. You know what I mean? Nobody gave us respect coming up anyway. We were always the big little city from the New York City, whatever. And now look what happened. Ain't nobody in New York City can out-rap Griselda whatsoever. So,
Yeah, that's big, man.
went through that, man.
So how did you release the album? Was there like a party? Did you do it virtually?
Yeah, man, I just did it. You know what? And I said it was emotional because I did it virtually, did Distro Kid, and I actually worked on I had a good relationships with a lot of good people personally that, the promo was already in the people, man. People were really going at it. And I remember being on my seven I do on my Friday nights and really dropping it. And I remember I was on, about 5 grams at a time. And that time you can't really look at your phone. Your phone looks like a fucking crazy, like, lights are just like freaks you out. I saw it lighting up. And then like I was kind of emotional because I knew it was big, but I knew that like people like who were close to me. Like my mom has like, heavy dementia, and like my father are kind of like distant right now. Like I haven't talked to him in years. So like, knowing to me it was an accomplishment of things that I put together because of the timing, like when it was during the time and like how I was living and how me and everybody else from Scott and XD, all the producers, that I run down with when it comes to like Swelty and Smooth Eye, my boy Chapo, and again, my man Jelly, all these people that really did that, they really, to me, helped me out a lot through all this. You know what I'm saying? So, dropping that digitally and then going off was like, it was kind of emotional. I just kind of sat there, just like let it go off. And then, I'm also a humble person where I'm hungry because after it dropped, I'm like, I'm ready to go again. I knew that if I started, I can't stop. So that's why it kind of took me a longer way to start. I could have dropped the album 3 years ago, but I knew it wasn't ready to be consistent.
Right.
So it was like once I started really figuring out how my system was going to be consistent, and that's what I worked through during the pandemic situation, and I was able to do that. You know what I mean?
I like what you said there. I actually finished my project that I put out in 2017. I had it ready to go in 2015, but I had no follow up.
Yeah.
No idea what to do next. No plan. Not even a way to get a beat. So I was like, what am I going to do? Put this album out and then I don't know if that was the right choice or not to this day, but that's what I chose to do. But since then, I've been pretty consistent with it. So I think I'll make the right choice. So I like what you said there because it's definitely something that people should think about. And some people stockpile, some people just release everything. How did you end up on a King's Court?
Yeah, man. So
Or the
King's Court basically started off on a different platform. I think you have something to do with King's Court being
I
coming
think
to
I
the
do
fruition.
have a
That's why
little bit.
I think the sponsors owe you a pack. To be honest with you, I think I'm gonna work that out, bro. Because I'm gonna get. Can I get to that? I think I can get to that. I don't give a fuck, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we had started me, my man Willie, and my man Elder. Um, we had started off on a different platform. Things didn't work out so well during the situation, and we decided to Willie, Elder, and me. Were pretty much had to, I guess, apparently to keep something going, start our own situation called the King's Court. And King's Court just pretty much just came up overnight. Just said we can do this, and Elder already had a platform, and of course, Willie had his whole thing going. Like, he was already working extremely hard and had all the things popping, and I was over here just doing my thing with the empowerment, with the knowledge of my platform and the music. So we just came together, and that's it. And King's Court has been extremely successful since then. That's been going on. You know what I mean? So that's really how it came to part. Just kind of
No.
like that, like spontaneous, but it's where we knew it was going to happen. And it's already been like we just signed our first sponsor officially from Healing House 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy cool.
yeah,
And that's crazy to think that I legitimately play a part in the start of the King's Court, and that's not a
you
hyperbole.
legitly did. Yeah, yeah. That's not cap. Like no cap. Like legitly.
Uh,
Without that situation happening, I guess it wouldn't have showed what could happen in the future with simple things. And then we found that out. It showed some true colors, and then we just decided to. And we still have been classy about it. We're not going to sit here and bash nobody or get into
nah.
anything like that. And we're not even moving like that. We wish these people the best of luck, but we
Yeah,
had a
let them do
different
their
type of
thing.
platform. Yeah, we had a different type of platform we were trying to do, and the direction maybe didn't match up. So we created our own. That's all good. It's been good ever since.
And then King's Court came through. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed ranting. I said you guys let me rant. What can I say?
All
It
day.
was, it was a
Just
good
come
time.
rant, bro. Just
Nah,
come
we
rant.
gotta let
That's all
out
you got to
yo,
do.
but I like it. You guys have had a cool guest list. I mean, you had Travis Bryant there. I see Eulogy's
Mm,
coming. Shout out Eulogy. He's
yes.
fucking dope.
Big shout out to Eulogy.
Apparently there's a strip club DJ coming this week or something.
Yes. DJ Vega, I think is his name. DJ Vega. Yeah.
Yo,
We got
I
some
mean,
good
I
people,
try
man. We got
to.
some people in July also.
I do what I can to peep it when I can. It's a genuinely
Yeah.
entertaining show. All right, Willie. Now would be an appropriate time for a Willie bomb if you were gonna drop it. So you gotta
Yeah.
structure things in a way where you get everything out nice and then let Willie come through.
I'm glad Willie's still on this motherfucker.
No, Willie's really like straight up about it. Like
Yeah, I
Willie's
love it, man. I appreciate you,
Willie
bro.
like he's candid. If Toronto's playing hockey, fuck everything you're doing. He's
Yeah.
got his own shit that he's got going on. But like Willie's a cool dude. In general, I've seen this guy be in the audience enough and then
Mm-hmm.
participate in enough things where it's like I don't expect like people to come like be part of everything all the time. Like listen, I get it. I go live like 100 times a week and
Mm-hmm.
it can be excessive. But like Willie makes that effort to even just pop in and say hi, like which is
Right.
nice. It's like if you have
Mm-hmm.
like a store in the neighborhood, you don't have to come buy something, but just popping
Just
in
come
and saying
through.
hi is nice.
Yeah, come
It
through.
breaks the monotony of the day. And Willie's
Mm-hmm.
super cool like that, and I respect it a lot. And I like watching Willie pop off and do all this shit and live
Absolutely.
in an area that doesn't follow the same legal system as me, so he gets different benefits than I do with regards to sponsorships. Which is facts of it. All right, so Willie has
Right.
come through with it. Whose wife of all the players you played with would you go on IG and take shrooms with?
Player's wife, I would take shrooms with
On IG?
on IG.
It's such like a really specific question.
Yeah, because like the players that I play with, their wives may not be on IG. Nor would I fucking take shrooms with him. So I'm trying to think of anybody. I'm trying to get me in trouble with shit.
Yeah, Willie's definitely trying to get you in trouble with shit.
Willie's really trying to fuck me up. That's why I can't stand this motherfucker.
He's like, I spent 3 hours plotting this exact question and how to get him exactly into the kind of situation where Holden's channel becomes DJ Vlad.
There's no fucking way. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like,
Nah, if you can't.
dog,
Dude,
players
I'm
wise.
I'm not Willie. I read the question. I fulfilled my obligation. You have no obligation to actually answer the question.
But see, Willie doesn't let me let that down. So I had to either man the fuck up and answer the question, or hear his motherfucking ass getting me, give me shit for the next 20 years.
That's fair.
So
I can see how Willie.
I'm gonna go ahead and answer the question, Willie. You a dick, but I will answer it for you.
Everything about this is funny.
Now take mushrooms with? Okay, yeah, that's easy. I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of them, but like mushrooms with. Yo. All right. All right, fuck that shit. I'll say it. I'll give a damn. I'll goddamn say it. Yo,
he's just
Dante Culpepper's wife was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I'll take shrooms with her. Or like, okay, how about nah? That's personal. I'm not gonna say that one.
You
don't even know what that is.
You fulfilled the obligation enough.
I fulfilled the obligation. That's it.
Willie
Really,
should not be able to now come at you and say that you were a chicken.
Yeah, she was cool.
Oh, you satisfied it, and Willie's like, I knew it. I just wanted to know if that was it, because I thought this up the other day when I was sitting there high, and I'm like, I bet Cottreezy wanted to do mushrooms with that one. And then he waited till this very moment.
He is an idiot. Okay, whatever. But you're hilarious, Willie.
But I know. I mean, that's my. I could just see how that could play out. I'm not even lying. He heard things. I don't know what that means, but he heard things.
He heard things.
Willie's trying to make a situation. Man.
Willie, I got a story. I mean, listen, I got stories.
That was the next question that was waited till the end of the interview for.
Ooh.
From Ismail Gadamsi. Tell me
what is
funny stories about Willie. It was more of a request.
Ooh, about Willie. I ain't got no funny stories about Willie, I don't think. I'm trying to think, man. I got a story about
Willie,
Minnesota
be careful
Vikings
about what you fucking type on camera that shows up on the screen. That's all I'm going to say in response to Golden Jenny.
Trying to think. Funny stories about Willie. There ain't no funny stories about Willie, because Willie's a serious dude.
Willie is a serious dude.
Willie's too serious, man. Like, there's not really nothing funny about him. Like, he'll check your ass. Like, I think he checked somebody last. Look at the King score. Like, I don't know. Willie's a straight up dude. I'm trying to figure out if he's funny, but I don't think anything funny happened to him. Like, I never seen it.
Like, Willie definitely.
He's too serious.
Yeah.
He's joking, but he's serious. You understand? Like, he up there punchlining and shit, but he's serious dude. He works hard, man. So I'm sorry, I ain't got nothing, man. Not for Willie. I got funny stories for me, but I ain't got nothing for Willie. I got crazy stories.
What are funny stories about you?
Oh my God. All right, quick one. Yeah, I'm gonna get to this. This is a Minnesota Viking one. This is some exclusive stories. There is a Minnesota Viking 2005. There was a controversy called the boat ride. What it was we had fucking threw a party. The rookies threw a party, and they rented 2 fucking boats, like huge, like just big ass boats that you can go in and have parties and yachts, whatever. In like October, so it was like late Minnetonka, it's freezing. They rented it, got strippers. Lo and behold, nothing really even. I'm not going to get into too many crazy stuff because ain't no snitching. But just say it was,
Intercoursing.
yes, that the things of that nature was going down. So I'm in there like I'm crazy. Like it's crazy because it's like it's kind of fucked up because you're trapped because they take the boats out on the water and it's kind of getting kind of uncomfortable, but you're on the water, so you're like now you're outside, kind of like calling your homie like, "Yo, this shit's wild in here." Like it was really getting down. Dock up. All of a sudden, 2 days later, everything's in the paper about what happened. These strippers, they bringing in fits, prostitutes. What happened was these bartenders that were hired were like 19. One of them tells her little brother what she saw. Her little brother tells the priest in confessional. The confessional priest tells the media. The media goes crazy.
That's serious. Just get some
Now,
straight.
peep how fucking stupid. Yes, exactly. Now, peep how stupid this is, right? Out of everything that happened, nothing was happened. No players were really charged. And one player got charged with touching a stripper's butt on water, which is illegal.
Is that really illegal?
In Minnesota, it is, apparently.
Oh, I love the dumb laws.
$75 fine for like probably the state trying to charge them with all types of wild shit. They found out real quickly how dumb it was because it was like these dudes had lawyers. Like this team was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, you know what I mean? But there was like, they had imported these girls, they had solicited and all that shit, and actually didn't even happen. It was just a bunch of strippers, it was a party, some wild shit. Da da da.
I mean,
But they tried to get
famous
it.
football players.
Mm-mm. But like it was like they tried to get like everybody there. And I remember being like on IR and not having my name involved, but I was there. You know
No,
what I'm
but like,
saying? Because
just
I
yeah,
was,
that's just crazy to think about how that could play out.
yeah,
Media just
how it
took
could all play out. You just thinking it's a normal little thing, and then next thing you know, it goes crazy.
all
Or
because of bad
like
reporting.
yeah, you know what I mean? And then like like music wise, I remember like nothing really happened to me funny. Like I remember being like in Queens and performing in front of like damn near nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? Little things like that, playing your lumps. And then like I don't think that was funny because I actually don't really care. I'm like, I don't care. I'll train up here. I don't give a shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is what I'm doing. But nothing like really, stories of like music funny. But I got a lot of like street shit, da da da. Those stories, those are crazy. Those we can be all night with that shit. But I don't know, man, it's crazy.
Those are definitely not the kinds of stories I really want to talk about on camera.
Yeah,
In my
those are the
city,
ones. That's what I was getting
where
ready to say
somebody's
because
about to
those get
fuck.
too.
Dude, I live in
Those get.
NDG. I live like Costa Luke Road is a walking distance from my crib. Let's not be talking about the.
No, absolutely not.
Nah, I
Like,
mean,
Cote St. Luke was actually on the flip side of everything. It was good. It was great, man. I actually liked walking around there. I liked the supermarkets nearby. Of course, my neighbors were Hebrew and all that, and they were cool. Dude, my boy Yoni, like, you know what I mean? He smoked. Like, it was cool. Like, there was some good people around there. You know what I mean? They stayed low, but then, dog, at the same time, I remember real quick. I remember being on the balcony. Well, not on the balcony, on the stoop on Trinity Ave. And gunshots ring off. Like, I forgot the 2 streets over from Trinity. Like, dude got popped right. I mean, I'm out there like, pop, pop, pop. I'm like, and I'm shocked. I'm like, that's gunshots. I know it is. And I'm like, wow. Like, it was my first time I really was in, Cote St. Luke vicinity and that. So
what's crazy
that
is it's
place
like
is
a
like,
old. Just to give context, it's like an old person area, like, but it has a lot of new condo-y kind of shit happening there.
yeah, absolutely.
So it's like it's strange to me
Crazy.
that it would happen there, because like that was like where I like as a kid grew up and went to the library.
Yeah. Right over there
And
by
there
the
was
fields
like
and shit.
fucking nothing there. Like there just wasn't shit there like there is
And
now.
now it's these huge modern houses out of nowhere. It's like, it's a different area, but it was quiet. Yeah, we'll talk about those stories off camera. That wild shit happened to Cope.
Yeah, serious though. But yo,
Yeah,
honestly, I don't know if anyone else has any more questions, but now would be like a great time to ask. Like, yo, Cottreezy, you're a fascinating fucking dude for real.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on, dog.
I
Real
mean, it's
talk,
my
man.
pleasure. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
first of
real
all, like,
talk.
I didn't even know you were in the NFL, so that was like a huge surprise. Like, just okay, like that's the kind of surprise as an interviewer. It's like on the one hand, you're hard to Google, so I don't feel that bad. But
Yeah,
how long
it's
has he been
cool.
doing music? I since time basically. That's just the
Man,
answer I
since
got.
time, man. Yeah,
Oh,
since
in
time, man.
Canada, how long have you been doing
Oh,
music?
2000, 2017. 2017 was my first track I was doing in Canada. You know what I'm saying? So I dropped Selassie Soldier here. So it's
Mm.
pretty much, you could tell me, man, my first solo album was dropped in Canada. Real shit. So,
No, I definitely appreciate that.
mm,
I'm just waiting to see if other questions come in, but yeah, no, I think you're super interesting. Your brain's like fucking powerful. Like I like the fact that again, like you just waited till the time was right and you went with it, and the album sounds wonderful. Like I listened to
I
it a few
appreciate that.
times, and I was like, no, this is cool. It's versatile. It says a lot. I wrote repping virtue. That's what I felt.
Yes,
That's what
I
I felt
appreciate that.
after
I
hearing that.
appreciate that.
I don't
Yes,
know.
sir. Yes, sir.
I try to write something quirky based on whatever I can think of from what I found, but that was the most powerful thing I could find about your brand. Um,
I appreciate it.
are there any other good rappers from Buffalo that are not Griselda?
Besides, yeah, I mean, man, actually, fuck. There's a few, man, like my man Product, my man Valid 716. These are people in the underground that are really nice that been doing it for a while. But legitly, man, you know what I'm saying, guys. Like Jay Skis and those guys, they would drum work. That's still Griselda too, right? That's the Conway.
Mm.
You got Che Noah, who is she's from Buffalo. She's with
Yeah, she's ill.
Trust, yeah, 38 Special and all them like
Yo,
that. She's
38
from
Special
Buffalo.
is so cool. Just
Yeah,
throwing it
38
out there.
Special is ill.
Yeah.
Yeah, 38 Special is ill. And he got to connect with Buffalo. Like I said, Che Noah, she's from Buffalo, man. She's ill. Shout out to Che Noah. And yeah, that's probably, we got a lot of people who are still like on the underground too that are still coming up hard. Like Griselda's put kind of like the battery out there and kind of like gave us a voice. And like I said, I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't, trying to drop music because they did, but at the same time, me saying I'm from Buffalo does bring bells a lot more now because of it,
Mm.
right? So, there's a lot of good rappers beside them, but like I said, Chinoa, those come to mind. A couple of my boys, Valid, Product. Those are personal dudes, but yeah, guys like that.
So Willie said that his DJ played for you at the ICC. Have you played with any other DJs?
Yo, to keep it G, no. No, I mean, yeah, actually, no. I played with DJ. I'm sorry, I played with DJ Ron in Richmond, Virginia, but that was like real quick. That was a
Mm.
quick set. But as far as one, like, nah. I mean, real talk, no. I can't wait to really do it again this summer.
Yeah, I feel
Real
that.
DJ, get it popping. You know what I mean? I'm itching to get on stage, bro. Like, for real.
Yeah, I hope.
This ain't no game with it at all. So
I feel like a lot's gonna come in your future, my man. But yo, thank you
I
for
appreciate
coming
that, King.
through for real.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank y'all for watching. It's really cool to see y'all stick it through and give so much love. Like that number hugged 15 for like 2 hours, which is pretty fucking a testament to you and your storytelling
Wow,
more
man. I
so than me, because
appreciate
I
that.
barely fucking talked during that period. They're like, "Oh, Holden's talking now." Like, nah, it's all love.
I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all for everybody, man. Literally, like I said, I'm like, I'm gonna give you my flowers, man. You really put the groundwork in. Like I said, just linked up with you on that other platform. So I'm glad that other platform might happen because then that's when I first found you. And then I was also blown away too. I'm like, yo, this dude is making, like, yo, this is ill. I love this content. And then when you did, obviously, that interview, I was also in the cut just listening to, you know what I mean, and couldn't wait to link up and have a better conversation. And you're on your way too, man. You have an amazing platform, an amazing, foundation going. So keep that
Yeah, but
shit up, bro.
honestly, that's all just because people keep coming and then showing love, and then we just
Yeah,
keep doing.
that's
And
right.
I mean, like, I know what I was signing up for. I knew how long it was gonna take when I got into it. So like,
Yeah,
whatever the day to day is, whatever. But like, you just find those little wins. Like Ismail is like the truest Montrealist fan ever. Like this guy's in Montreal, and he's just
shout out to
a
him.
fucking fan. And people be like,
Big salute.
there's no fans of the city. I'm like, my guy, I have empirical proof that Ismail bought CB Max album and he spun Buddha Child's track to like this thing. And I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck all y'all, Ismail's in the city. So
right,
it's like
right. Shout out
beautiful
to
to see
Ish.
that, like, and just to be a
Yeah,
part of it.
man,
Anyhow,
for real.
I appreciate all of y'all. We're gonna start the raid very soon, but before we do, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to, if you're in the future watching, you're thanked too. It's not just the live people, but like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Powder, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Scribble. They're dope. They support what we do. And if you want to support what we do and you're on Amazon, you're on Twitch and you have Amazon Prime, it's free to subscribe. And in the future, patreon.com/behind that suit. I'm fucking terrible at this. Anyway, I
Good,
appreciate
bro.
all of y'all. You have any last words?
Man, shout out to everybody, man. Cottreezy.com, at Cottreezy on IG, Cottreezy.com, obviously, man, we coming hard. And like I said, on Slossy Soldier on all platforms. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, we're getting right, man. We're doing it right. We're doing it right. And stay tuned. We got some singles dropping real soon. My boy Willie played All Praises Due earlier. So big salute to everybody. Keep on supporting, man. Much love to everyone. Straight up, man. That ass. Shout out to you, Hope. That ass,
Yeah,
man.
appreciate y'all.
Rastafari.
So live long and prosper, everyone.